Well, hey everybody. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. So, we've been continuing on with other projects, but I wanted to also start kind of like highlighting some other fun things in this game, Action PC Baseball. And yes, don't worry, the other types of game are going to be showing up soon on this channel. But the new baseball history collection, or the updated, I should say, is coming on Wednesday, 28 June. But even for existing owners, there's a lot of fun to be had in this. So this is a league that I customized, including the logos and everything. So you see the title is Ruths versus Cobbs. Really what this is the Baseball History Collection had a subset that's coming out again on Wednesday, which is why I wanted to do this game, which is really fun. And so it takes the best players of each decade. So it takes the 1800s as a whole, so really two decades, 1880 to 1900, and then the best players from 1900 to 1910, 1911 to 19, and so on and so forth, all the way to the 2000s. So created a league, created the logos, assigned the ballparks, all that kind of stuff. So just thought we'd occasionally do some games here. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So so we have the Ruths and the Cobbs. The Babe Ruths are the best of the 1920s. The Ty Cobbs are the best of the 1910s. So the starting lineup then. For the Ty Cobbs in left field, Cherry McGee. In center, Ty Cobb. In right field, Chief Wilson. From first to third, Ed Konechi at first. Larry Doyle at second. Donnie Bush at short. Home Run Baker at third. Ray Shaw catching. And today, Ed Walsh will be taking the mound. Should be a good one. It's going to be Ed Walsh versus Stan Kovaleski. So leading off here for the Ruths. Second baseman, Rogers Hornsby. So Hornsby, on opening day here, last season, a 389 hitter, 27 home runs, 122 runs batted in. We're ready to get underway here. Light rain falling here in Philadelphia. We're playing in the Baker Bowl. The 3-0 delivery from Walsh, missing for ball four. Of course, Rogers Hornsby known for that great eye up there. So Hornsby aboard. And let's give this a hide. Hornsby aboard. 9 stolen bases last season. And there's Bernard. He says, "Hi, Beatles. You have me converted. I downloaded Steve Tate's files last night. I'm deciding which teams to play. So much more interesting in modern baseball." Welcome. Welcome, welcome. That is great. And I mean, welcome to the Action PC community. Bernard, I hope you have a great time. Those 5-year files are so much fun. What you can do, right, just create a blank league and then drag in what teams that you want to use for that, and you're going to have such a blast. You're going to have such a blast with it. And if you have any questions, anything like that, we are here to help. All right, here is the great George Sisler now. Sisler, a 359 hitter last season, 7 home runs, 93 runs batted in. Hornsby at first. Walsh with a check of the runner. Here is the wind and the 2-2 pitch. Sisler sends this to shallow center. Ty Cobb, covering a lot of ground there in center field, will make the catch. Hornsby remains at first. 1 up, 1 down here at the Baker Bowl, bringing up none other than Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth with 40 home runs, 153 runs batted in, a 381 average. Remember, the Baseball History Collection is based on a peak slice of a player's career. So the longer the career, the shorter the slice to get more accuracy. This is a phenomenal, it's an additional product to Action PC, but if you buy it, you have every retired player who ever played baseball, all the way down to guys that didn't even have an at-bat, such as Moonlight Graham. The possibilities are virtually limitless in what you can do in the Baseball History Collection. I think this is really a nice set because there's so many things you can do, and if you're a seasoned replayer, you can even sort of do that. But of course, since you're getting these players kind of at their peak slice, all kinds of what-if scenarios that you could do. The world is your oyster, as they say. You're most welcome, Bernard. All right, and you know what I mean. Modern baseball is fun too, but you know, with you doing your 1950 Red Sox replay, right? So you're talking about what, a 73? That's 73 years ago. So already you're on the old-time baseball bandwagon. So really glad. Again, any questions, any concerns you have, just feel free to drop them in the chat. And if I can't answer them, I know Steve or Big Clue or any of the other guys here who play this game will be able to help you. All right, so the Sultan of SWAT, the Colossus of Clout, waits for the Ed Walsh delivery. Ed Walsh, the great Irish spitballer from the dead ball era, deals the 1-2 to the Bambino, and Ruth unable to catch up to this fastball, and that is strikeout number 1 for Ed Walsh. So Babe Ruth heads back to the dugout, and it brings up Bobby Veach, longtime left fielder for the Detroit Tigers. Veach last season, a .342 average, 12 home runs, 109 runs batted in. Rogers Hornsby at first, good lead, 2 down here, just underway at the Baker Bowl in Philadelphia. And the 1-0 delivery to Bobby Veach, and Veach liner to right, and Chief Wilson making the nice grab to retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, and we've played a half inning here at the Baker Bowl. It's the Ruths nothing and the Cobbs coming to bat. Starting defense here for the Ruths. In left field, Bobby Veach. In center, Pirate Great. Center fielder, Max Carey. In right, Babe Ruth. And then from first to third, George Sisler, long time with the St. Louis Browns, one of the greatest first basemen of his day and of all time. Rogers Hornsby at second, who really needs no more introduction. Joe Sewell at short. Willie Cam at third. Catching is Steve O'Neill, and pitching Stan Kovaleski. Kovaleski with a 2.61 earned run average, 19 wins, 11 losses, 2 saves, 265 and 2/3 pitched, 67 walks, 94 strikeouts. As Bernard Strom says, I think that the most fun will be researching players I don't know, preparing for any YouTube broadcasts I do. And, you know, you're absolutely right. And I think it was Nathaniel, who's one of the newer members or subscribers to the channel and members of our family, said that this is pretty much an organic baseball encyclopedia, and it is. And I think that you're just going to have fun, even if you use this game for a while to kind of inform what you're doing in your PC replay projects and stuff like that. There's so much you can do with this thing. There were other things that it's just draft leagues. It's really limitless. Clee baseball fan is here, and he says, "Good morning, Beatles." And Bernard, he says he's going to try to get a video out this weekend. He's working until 2:30 today. But Tim, we're always looking forward to it. Tim calls a great game. His most recent project, unless that has finished, haven't seen Tim in here in a little while, is a 2007 Cleveland Indians replay using Strat. And Tim really makes it a lot of fun, super knowledgeable. So welcome in, my friend. Hopefully you do get that video up, and do feel free, both of you, to put links to your channels and stuff like that, because people do watch these afterwards. All right, so the Georgia Peach leads it off here. Cobb, 374 average, 6 homers, 101 runs batted in, 58 steals. So dangerous leadoff man here for the team named after him. Kovaleski winds and fires the 0-1 change up to Cobb, and immediately a base hit slash to left past Joe Sewell, and Ty Cobb is aboard. So O'Neill and Kovaleski need to keep an eye out on the Georgia Peach, and an excellent contact hitter steps to the plate, Frank Home Run Baker. And we will talk as this season goes on how Home Run Baker got his nickname. But 316 average, 8 home runs, 94 runs batted in. Cobb, an aggressive leadoff first. George Sisler waits for the throw over from Stan Kovaleski. And there goes Cobb. The throw down by O'Neill, the tag by Sewell, not in time. Cobb coming in, spikes high and sharpened. So Ty Cobb in scoring position. John DFW, good morning. Robert, he says it's been a hard day's night. That counts. Say a quick hi. Robert, before we run out, while I didn't stay for the entire stream, I had a big game that a lot of people were waiting for last night. I really, really, really enjoyed the conversation that you had with David Baseball Demos on Inside Pitch Baseball. I still, after listening to the passion you guys have for the game, it's been a while since I've rolled some cards and dice. But I'm thinking about picking up inside pitch. So thank you, and also it was really cool of you guys to recognize that those of us who play digital are very much um, part of this hobby. We all love baseball, and it's always great. So thanks, buddy. And there is John DFW. Hey, John, good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks to John for creating and maintaining our Discord channel, which is picking up even more membership. So thank you very much, John. Valued member of our little family here, just as much as everybody else in here. All right, so Home Run Baker, and again, we'll talk about how he got that nickname as time goes on. All right, Kovaleski deals now to Frank Baker. Baker shoots this one to third. Willie Camp up with it. The throw across the diamond. George Sisler has to retire Baker. So looking for Baker to try to sacrifice Cobb to third, but Baker swinging away here. Sherry McGee, a man I've said many, many times, deserves to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. McGee, the left fielder, hitting .311 last year, 12 triples, 14 homers, 88 runs batted in. Also has speed, a lot of speed on this Cobb team, 37 steals last season. Kovaleski from the high set. Here's the 1-0 pitch to him. Fastball swung on, fly ball to right, back on it Ruth, right in front of the Lifeboy sign in right, and tagging is Ty Cobb. The throw from Ruth to third, the tag by Willie Cam. The throw gets away from Willie Cam, and Ty Cobb comes around to score. Score that an E9 on Babe Ruth. Errant throw that that pulled Cam off the line around, allowing the Georgia Peach to score. So the Cobbs with an early 1-0 lead here in the first. Larry Doyle now, longtime player of the New York Giants, a .319 average, 7 home runs, 68 runs batted in, 14 triples. Doyle bats lefty, 1-0 in favor of the Cobbs. Stan Kovaleski now into his full windup, and the 1-1 pitch. Fastball, fly ball to right. Ruth in the corner makes the catch for out number 3, but 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error by Babe Ruth. We've played 1 complete, and it's the Cobbs 1 and the Ruths nothing. McGee in the Hall of Fame. I'll write a check. How about it? How about it? Bernard says, learning inside pitch was difficult for me until I bought the PC game. The PC game helps you learn the cards and dice game, in my humble opinion. Yeah, watching that. Also, what Robert does, which I think is really, really, really cool, and once I do buy the game, I'm going to be going back at his back catalog. So before every season, and I trust Robert will be doing that again for his upcoming 2016, is he does a stream in which people can ask questions. Robert patiently takes his time and goes into exquisite detail on the ins and outs of the game. The thing that attracts me about Inside Pitch, watching David and Robert last night talk about the game, is one of the things that turned me off to cards and dice baseball after a while was just billions of charts upon charts and books and this card for this and this card for that and whatever. And I have a sense that Inside Pitch, of course, learning, from the long time games that have been around forever, like, APA, Status Pro, Stratomatic, and whatever, and able to essentially streamline the process. Also, Robert offers some great tips if you're playing cards and dice, too. My understanding, too, is that Chris is a very, very responsive developer. So there's a lot of factors that pulled me back in. And, of course, having a guru like Robert around to answer some questions certainly is extremely helpful. All right. One of the premier center fielders of his day, but largely forgotten even by Pittsburgh Pirate fans, unfortunately, the great Max Carey. So Carey steps in the box with a .312 average, 8 home runs, 58 runs batted in, 49 steals. Carey batting in the 5th position here for the Ruths. Ed Walsh ready to deal now. 1 strikeout, 1 walk thus far. Walsh winds and fires the 1-1 fastball. Fly ball from center fielder to center fielder. The Georgia Peach trotting over to his right a few steps. Makes the catch for out number 1. Joe Sewell now. Excellent shortstop, Hall of Famer. .309 average, 4 home runs, 91 runs batted in. Ed Walsh winds and fires the 2-0 to Sewell. fastball. A little two hopper to Larry Doyle at second on to Ed Konichi for out number 2, or Ed Konichi, I should say. And here's Willie Cam, a Hall of very good player. Willie Cam, another forgotten, just superb player. 292 average, 3 home runs, 75 runs batted in. Willie Cam was an excellent defensive third baseman. You know, certainly not in the class of Brooks Robinson, Mike Schmidt, Eddie Matthews, but Willie Cam, a very good player. Schuck sets the target. Ed Walsh winds and fires. Here's the 3-1 to Willie Cam, and Willie Cam, good eye up there, laying off that curveball that just misses inside by Big Ed Walsh. So a runner aboard, 2 down, and it brings up catcher Steve O'Neill, longtime catcher with Cleveland. O'Neill with a 279 average, 2 homers, 42 runs batted in. So Willie Cam with 12 steals to his credit last season. Ed Walsh throws over, Cam back, and just for immersion's sake, I'm using the term last season, but actually these are what you're seeing. These real stats are what's on the baseball history collection. And again, the updated version comes out on Wednesday. There's a pre-sale discount on it for $34 if you've never owned it before. If you have, there's an additional discount, and you can get it for $24. That's 18,000 players. The peak slice of their career. It's such a bargain, and Dave Cook is superb. Perhaps the analog of Chris with inside pitch. All right, so Ed Konichi now in here, and I'm going to keep deciding whether I want to pronounce it Konichi or Konichi. I think we'll go with Konichi. Sounds a little bit more correct here. It's the K that throws me off there. If it was a C, I would know how to pronounce it because it would be Irish. All right, let's see. Does he look Irish to me? Yeah. All right. So Konichi hitting 306, 8 home runs, and 80 runs batted in. Kovaleski deals. Konichi swings. Fly ball. This one high, this one deep, but a leaping grab right at the wall in left field, and Bobby Veach pulls it down for out number 1. Longest hit we've seen in his game so far. Here's Chief Wilson, the man who threw off normalization with that season when he had so many triples. A 291 hitter, Chief Wilson. 18 triples last year, 22 doubles, 71 runs batted in, no homers. Kovaleski into his motion, and the 1-2 curveball. This one slapped ashore Joe Sewell with the easy 6-3 putout to George Sisler. 2 up, 2 down, and here's Donnie Bush. Donnie Bush, longtime teammate of Ty Cobb on the Detroit Tigers. Bush, a 266 hitter, a home run, 34 runs batted in. Kovaleski with the leg kick and the 0-2, and this one catching the black on the inside corner for strike 3. So that's the first strikeout for Stan Kovaleski. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 2 in the books here at Philadelphia Baker Bowl, and it's the Cobbs 1, the Ruths nothing, as Steve O'Neill steps in now. So here is the delivery from Ed Walsh to O'Neill. O'Neill swings, routine fly ball to center. This one right into the glove of the Georgia Peach in center for 1 out. And Stan Kovaleski, 178 hitter, 9 runs batted in for him. Big Ed Walsh with that spitball. Hitters used to joke that what would cross the plate, the ball would disintegrate on its way, and it would just be spit, and by the time it hit the catcher's glove, the ball would reform. Ed Walsh, also known as an excellent singer. Lots of great stories about Big Ed Walsh, one of the most dominant pitchers of his day. Walsh delivers the 1-0 delivery to Kovaleski. Kovaleski, hard hit ground ball past Donnie Bush into left field. So that is the first hit for the Cobbs here in this game. Or I'm sorry, for the Ruths in this game. Cobbs leading 1-0. Rogers Hornsby now are back at the top of the order, and the Raja walked to lead off the game. Walsh checks Kovaleski at first. Really not a threat to steal at all. Walsh brings it now, the 1-0 to Hornsby. Change up, and Hornsby gets all of this one, and you can kiss it goodbye as he literally hits it out of tiny Baker Bowl. This one, 385 feet, and if you look at the dimensions of Baker Bowl, Um, very, very tiny ballpark. Really an anomaly when you look at a lot of dead ball parks that were cavernous. Forbes Field immediately comes to mind. This park would easily fit inside Forbes. Fenway, big park. Huntington Avenue grounds, a mammoth park. Of course, the Polo grounds. But this was a little tiny park. I believe, I don't have the fence markers up, but I believe it was somewhere, it was like 200 and some feet down the right field line, hence this big wall here where you see the Lifebuoy sign. Aaron Reed is in here to see it, and we have a little bit of information. So Robert doing a demo game for the 2016, this tomorrow, Cleveland Indians, Chicago Cubs, and that will be at noon. So guys, check it out. Oh yeah, Budweiser in the 1910 draft. So welcome in, Jackass Whiskey Pinto Beans. So guys, tune in. Whether you're new to inside pitch, you're a player to inside pitch, like me, you're really seriously considering inside pitch. Robert's demo games are, I think, an absolute must. And I think that the rest of us in the community could take from Robert's example. I know Steve Tate did a wonderful stream last night on an overview walkthrough of this game, and this is a very deep game. Action PC, there's a lot going on here, so I applaud Robert for his efforts and his excellent instruction. Aaron Reed said, yep, you get here and someone's already gone deep. So Robert is in the Eastern time zone, Bernard. All right, George Sisler now. Sisler flied to shallow right center. Good win by those Reds last night, by the way, Aaron. Good job. Ed Walsh fires it in to George Sisler, the 1-1. Sisler sends this one up the middle, ranging far to his right. Larry Doyle barehands it and fires on to Kenichi for out number 2. And that throw need to be hurried by Larry Doyle as George Sisler has serious speed. So 2 away here for Babe Ruth, who struck out in the first. Walsh into his wind, the 1-2 pitch, fastball, and Babe Ruth once again stymied by Ed Walsh. That's Walsh's second strikeout. Side retired, 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, and that was that big 2-run shot, by the way. So it is now 2-1, the Ruths over the Cobbs. Leading off here, Ray Cracker Schock, a member of the 1919 Black Sox, Hall of Fame catcher. Schock, a very light hitting catcher, 243 average, 47 runs batted in last season, 15 steals. Stan Kovaleski has whiffed a batter, deals to Schock. Schock swinging on the first pitch, base hit, line to left field. Up with it is Bobby Veach into Joe Sewell. So Ray Schock aboard, and here comes Ed Walsh. Infield in looking bunt, Willie Cam in at third, George Sisler in at first. Ed Walsh, a .215 hitter, so not necessarily an easy out. A home run, 9 runs batted in last season. Walsh even managed to steal 2 bases. Schock into his lead at first. Kovaleski sets and deals the 0-1, and this one fouled back to the screen. Walsh back in, and the 0-2 delivery from Kovaleski to Walsh. Curveball, and Walsh swinging away. This one is going to make the seats on the left-hand side. Walsh is going to get another look at Stan Kovaleski. Kovaleski lets it go, the 0-2 now. And Schock on the move, the throw down, and Schock is safe. So Steve O'Neill up gunning, but Schock with a good lead. So Schock in scoring position, and that was a strike him out, throw him out. So Walsh goes down on strikes, but Ray Schock makes it to second. So runner in scoring position, the tying run for the Cobbs, as Ty Cobb comes to the plate. Singled back in the first. Kovaleski deals to the Georgia Peach, the 0-1 fastball, and this one chopped hard to Hornsby at second, who fires onto Sisler at first to retire Cobb. Moving to third in the play is Ray Cracker Schock. 12 in a row for the Cincinnati Reds, says Aaron Reed. And beat a very, very tough Atlanta Braves team. So the Reds bringing it on here as we approach the All-Star break. The Reds spending most of the season at, in, or near the cellar, and the Pirates spending a lot of the season either in first or second place, and now they've switched. The Reds in first place, the Bucks in fourth. We finally snapped our 11-game losing streak last night. So just holding on, waiting for O'Neill Cruz to rejoin the club in August, but would like to see us pick it up again. All right, home run Baker. Frank is 0 for 1, grounded to third back in the first. Kovaleski works in the stretch with Shock at third. 2 away here in the bottom of the third. Baker cuts and misses. Third strikeout in the game for Stan Kovaleski. And that does it. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. A runner left in scoring position, top of the fourth. And it's the Ruths 2, the Cobbs 1. Reds, Diamondbacks, and Braves are all tough this year. They absolutely are. Clee baseball fan Tim says that Reds, Braves looked like Bengals, Falcons last night with that 11-10 win. Tough victory. When I tuned into it earlier, the Reds were down and just came roaring back. So the Reds look to be for real. Enjoy the ride, Reds fans. Enjoy the ride. The National League Central, a weak division, and that's not to take anything away from the Reds. It is a weak division, so whoever makes it into the postseason, and we got a long way to go from the National League Central, going to have our hands full, and the menacing Tampa Bay Rays await everyone. All right, here's Bobby Veach now, former Detroit left fielder, lined to right back in the first. Walsh kicks and fires, the 1-2, curveball, and Veach swing and a miss, and that is strike 3. Ed Walsh now has rung up 3 batters, and here's Max Carey now. Former Bucko center fielder, fly to center in the second. Ed Walsh from the high set, and the 3-0, and Carey come back to the mound. Walsh off to his left, quick snap onto Kenichi, and they do just get Max Carey for out number 2. So the Cobbs looking for the trifecta here in a quiet inning as Joe Sewell comes to the plate. The shortstop grounded to second his last time up. Good crowd here today in the city of brotherly love at the Baker Bowl in Philadelphia. It always sort of reminded me of a tiny version of the Polo Grounds with this cutaway here in center field. And if you compare it to pictures of Polo Grounds, certainly it's not as grandiose as the Polo Grounds, but some similarities with short porches and that deep cutaway to center. Walsh fires it in now. The 3-1 pitch to Joe Sewell. Curveball sent high to right, but not deep enough. Ty Cobb covering about 300 acres, making the running catch over there in right field. And that retires the side. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Good tight ball game here. The Ruths over the Cobbs, 2-1. Sherry McGee, 0-1. He flied to deep right, sacrificing scoring Ty Cobb back in the first. Kovaleski deals the 1-1. Sherry McGee swings, and this one, Hornsby grabbing this tough grounder, but not able to get the throw off. Scorekeeper's going to hang an error on the Raja. That's number 2 for the Ruths. And that allows Sherry McGee to occupy first. McGee, 37 steals last year. And here's Larry Doyle. Larry Doyle, average bunter. See if he tries to move McGee over. A little bit of dead ball inside tactics here. Doyle flied deep down the right field line his last time up. Kovaleski with a check of the speedy McGee at first. Throws over. McGee dives back ahead of George Sisler's tag. Sisler with a great sweep tag movement there at first. O'Neill sets the target. Stan Kovaleski sets and delivers. The 0-1 pitch, fastball. Doyle swings, grounded to Hornsby. Hornsby would go to Sewell to 1, and the pivot onto Sisler for the 4-6-3 double play. So quickly now, 2 down, bases empty as Ed Kenichi steps in. First baseman for the Cobbs. Gave it a ride to deep left center last time. Kovaleski deals the 2-0. Fastball. Kenichi swings, this one high, this one deep, but not deep enough. Max Carey showing that supreme range, and center field makes the running catch for the final out. No runs, no hits, 1 error. 4 in the books here at Baker Bowl, and it's the Ruths 2, the Cobbs 1. Also in this league, as I said, this is split up into decades. As I go on with this, you're going to be seeing the all-time great, like 70s team, and 80s team, 90s team, 2000s, 50s, 40s. So yeah, so this is not just a sort of dead ball in 1920s league or anything like that. So do hope you'll join us occasionally on the infrequent times I do this. Looking to play Steve Tate in some head-to-head baseball this weekend. Joe Murdy joining us here in Philadelphia. He says Sherry McGee. That was the other one I was thinking of last night. Couldn't think of his name. So, yeah. Tim says, to show how quickly the season is moving, All-Star break starts 2 weeks from Monday, right? It's crazy. I don't know where the hell the year's going. All right, Willie Cam now, third baseman, walked back in the second. Walsh into his windup, and the 3-1 fastball. And fastball, this one missing high for ball 4. And Willie Cam is aboard. Willie Cam with 12 steals. He'll pick his spots. Steve O'Neill now, fly to left center. Cleveland fans should know about Steve O'Neill. One of the greats of their franchise. Walsh 1-1. Fastball. O'Neill. Chopper up to first. Kenichi has it. No time to try to get Cam at second. So a sort of unintentional sacrifice, and Willie Cam in scoring position now for the Ruths. So hold a 2-1 lead with one down here in the fifth. Stan Kovaleski now. Single between third and short last time up. Walsh brings it now. Kovaleski gets the bunt down. It's a good one. Baker's going to go to first. Doyle covering in the wheel play. Willie Cam moves to third, 2 down, and just 90 feet away. And that brings up Rogers Hornsby. Hornsby is 1 for 1. He hit that big 2-run shot back in the third. And that was the only scoring for the Ruths. The Cobbs scored their run on a sacrifice way back in the first. Ed Walsh works from the stretch to Rogers Hornsby. The count even at 2-2. Fastball. Hornsby turns on this one, but it's not going to be enough. In foul territory, Chief Wilson making a diving catch to retire the side. So nothing across in the top of the fifth. We go to the home half of the frame, and it's the Ruths 2, the Cobbs 1. Chief Wilson is 0 for 1, grounded to short. Kovaleski so far, through 4 innings of work, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts for him. He deals the 0-2 and make that 4 strikeouts. Strike 3 called, so nice fastball getting in there by Kovaleski. 1 away for shortstop Donnie Bush. Struck out against Kovaleski in the second. And let's get a little, there you go, you can see Stan Kovaleski wearing his Cleveland Indians livery. Kovaleski fires it in. The count even 2-2. Donnie Bush sends this to right toward the Lifebuoy sign. Ruth has it. Wait, juggling act. Ruth drops the ball, and Bush is going to make it to second. So Babe Ruth committing his second error of the game, and Donnie Bush will take that gift and is perched in scoring position. So the tying run in Donnie Bush at second, and the go-ahead run at Ray Cracker Shock now comes to the plate for the Ty Cobbs. He singled to left back in the third. Kovaleski with a check of Donnie Bush at second. Bush with 41 steals last season. Kovaleski brings it, the 2-0 delivery to Shock. Fastball swung on, scorched to center, base hit. Shock tearing around for second. He's going to make it RBI double. And that ties it up here now in the bottom of the fifth. So 2-2. Good ball game here so far. As Big Ed Walsh steps in now. He struck out. Walsh not in there for a stick, but again, a decent hitting pitcher. A 215 average last season. Infield looking bunt, however. Kovaleski works the 0-2. Curveball. Walsh swinging away. Just a bounding ball to Hornsby, who makes a nice off-balance throw onto George Sisler to retire Walsh. Moving to third is Ray Shock. And Ty Cobb looking for a base hit to put his team back on top. Cobb has singled and grounded to second. Kovaleski from the stretch in the 3-2 to Cobb. Base hit left field. Cobb does indeed pick up the RBI single as Ray Shaw trots home with run number 3, and the Cobbs pull ahead of the Ruths. It's 3-2. A real speed burner, Aaron Reed, channeling his inner Mel Allen, actually. If you listen to old-time baseball, you'll hear Mel Allen say that. And I'm talking about the game old-time baseball, which what a great, wonderful, if a flawed gem from back in the 1990s. Still a game I have installed and still one I haul out every once in a while. All right, so Cobb aboard, and here is home run Baker. It's 0 for 2. Kovaleski throws over. Georgia Peach back. And he yells to Joe Sewell, I'm coming down on the next pitch. But is he just bluffing? Home run Baker. Hard to strike out, but he does strike out. But the Cobbs pick up 2 big runs and 2 hits, 1 error. 5 in the books here now at Baker Bowl. And your score, the Cobbs 3, the Ruths 2. Mel Allen was perfect for that game. Yep. Kurt Gowdy says it too. The only thing about that game is Mel Allen pronounces more of the names than Kurt Gowdy. So, but yeah, Gowdy was good. But Mel Allen just had that kind of fun, nice delivery. Really liked it. You know? Hey, how about that? The great broadcasters. Who's left? Vince Scully was the last. Some good ones out there, though, still. John Miller. But how I wish APA would have gotten Vince Scully to pick up where Ernie Harwell left off. Baseball heaven. And with today's technology, it would have sounded amazing. All right. Known as Gorgeous George, George Sisler leads it off here in the 6th. For the Babe Ruths. He fly to right center and grounded to second. So look for Sisler to do a lot of amazing things here. He is always crazy in any replay in any game I've ever done. The great George Sisler played a game at Diamond Mine yesterday just offline and ripped a 2-run shot. Sisler, one of the greatest of all times. Sadly forgotten, or largely forgotten, except for serious baseball fans like those that hang out here. Walsh deals. The 1-1 pitch to Gorgeous George. This one a spitball. Finally, Walsh with a spitball. This one grounded to Doyle, who ranges to his right and fires on to Kenichi at first to retire Gorgeous George for out number 1. Here is the Bambino. More nicknames than anybody in baseball. Ruth has struck out twice, just unable to catch up to the great Irishman's arsenal of pitches. Ruth, a look of determination on his face. One of the most graceful swings in baseball. Full count to Ruth, and Babe Ruth sends this one to center field. Ty Cobb camps under it and makes the catch. 2 away. It's said that Babe Ruth modeled his swing after shoeless Joe Jackson. And here is Bobby Beach. You know, it's a shame that there's not any footage available of Babe Ruth as a pitcher when he was with the Red Sox. That would have been fun to see. There's, of course, decent footage, a lot of footage out there of Babe Ruth, and he did have such a beautiful swing. So, you know, we talk about Ken Griffey Jr. swing. Well, Babe Ruth had such a sweet swing. Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio. You love to watch a hitter that has such power but does it gracefully. You know, doesn't run it out. Just love that. Aaron Reed says, let me see. He says with AI, you can have any play-by-player announcer you'd like. Yeah, and that is coming. In fact, if you work with a program called Canva, which I use for a lot of web development and things like that. In fact, the poster that I created for last night's 1885 White Stockings 1894 Orioles game, there are actually AI presenters in there, and they're getting really, really good. There's a lot of other AI technology out there. I'd love to see one of these baseball producers, sim creators, whatever, jump in and use AI. There's actually even a measure of that already in MLB The Show, as there was in the pioneering Baseball for Windows and old-time baseball. And now with AI, Oh, God, guys, in a few years, we can have, I mean, just amazing, amazing narration in our games. Then you wouldn't have to hear amateurs like me anymore, but still listen to good guys like Chris Slovic, um, Ron Juckett, and legends. Those guys are phenomenal. Dave Little for basketball, Al for baseball and boxing. Robert doing cards and dice. Does it like a broadcaster. It's so good. So I look up to these guys in that respect. All right, Bobby Veach now waits for the Walsh delivery. Here's the 0-2. Veach swings on this one. Fly ball center field. This one back. This one off the wall. Cobb playing it off the carom. Bobby Veach will make it into second. And a little doff of the cap out there to former teammate Todd Cobb, who will not hear of it. So Veach in scoring position for the Babe Ruths represents the tying run. And here's Max Carey, who is 0 for 2. He's flied out and grounded back to Ed Walsh. Walsh delivers now after the check of the runner. 2-0 pitch. Fastball to Carey. This is going to be a base hit over the head of Donnie Bush at short. And McGee and Cobb converging on that ball. Cobb getting to it, but in to score is Bobby Veach. And we are knotted at 3 here as the Babe Ruths tie it up here in the 6th. Joe Sewell, 0 for 2. Max Carey at first. They've got to watch Carey. 49 steals from former Pirates center fielder. Ed Walsh, late of the Chicago Cubs, Chicago White Sox, throws over. Carey back in time. Don't know why the Cubs came into mind there. Walsh brings it now. First pitch to Sewell. Carey off to the races. The throw down, and they get Max Carey. So Ray Shaw comes up a gunning and takes care of the speedy Max Carey. However, the Babe Ruths pick up a run on 2 hits, no errors, and after 5.5 innings, the Ruths and Cobbs are knotted at 3. Bottom of the 6th here, and Sherry McGee with a sacrifice back in the 1st that scored the Cobbs' first run, and his last time up was safe on an error. Babe Ruth with 2 errors in this game thus far, 3 for the Ruths, none for the Cobbs. Kovaleski's 1-0 delivery to Sherry McGee. This fastball, routine grounder to Rogers Hornsby, barely had to move. So 4-3 and 1 out. Joe Murdy says, well, I'm thinking of it. I wanted to make Ruth into a pitcher in addition to being a hitter in action. What do you think would be the best way to do that, do you think? Well, it's interesting that let me show you Babe Ruth's card in this baseball history collection. It's very, very easy to do, actually. So let me change references just so you can see Babe. Actually, I don't think I need to do it this way. I think I just bring up Ruth's card from over here. Yep, there it is. So there's Ruth as a batter. There's Ruth as a pitcher. So it definitely can be done. We'll have to do a little bit of a tutorial on this. But super, super, super easy to do. And you can see here his ratings both as a hitter and as a pitcher. In fact, as a pitcher, he's 14-7 with an earned run average of 2.49. One of the easiest ways, of course, the obvious ways to do it, Joe, is just take him when he was with the 1919 Red Sox, if you wanted to do that. So then you got some pop and an excellent pitcher. But you already have him. If you get the baseball history collection, you can have Babe Ruth as a pitcher and a hitter. In fact, in the first version of the Ned McGreevy League, which was 19th century in dead ball, we had a special rule that Babe Ruth was not allowed to be drafted because of the fact that it's actually the baseball history collection taking that peak slice of Babe Ruth both as a pitcher and a hitter would have been an unfair advantage. So because using Ruth's power numbers as a Yankee and pitching numbers as a member of the Boston Red Sox. So the easiest way to do it is get the baseball history collection. And it's a great bargain. Great bargain. Yeah, but I got to, I don't know what the deal is with this. I've just got to get a new mic. But working on it, Bernard. So, but thanks for letting me know about the volume. Let me see what I don't know if that helps or not, but let's give it a go. All right, Larry Doyle, 0 for 2 here with 1 out. And Kovaleski with the 3-2 pitch. Doyle chops this one second, and Hornsby backing up, taking it on the hop, and quickly retires Larry Doyle for out number 2. All right, Ed Konieczny now. He is flied out to deep left center his both times up. Kovaleski deals. Full count on him. Konieczny lays off that curveball. This one high and inside, and he'll take his base. So 2 aboard, or 1 aboard, 2 away here for Chief Wilson, who's nothing for 2. Struck out back in the 5th. Tie score here. And Kovaleski deals. Chief Wilson, here's the throw down by O'Neill, and Konieczny has his first stolen base of the season. So the Cobbs with the runner in scoring position, 2 down. 0-1 the count on Wilson. Here is the wind and the pitch. Curveball sent to deep center field. Carey back on it, making the catch for the 3rd out. So 2 premier center fielders here, Ty Cobb and Max Carey. I would say defensively, Max Carey decided edge, though, over Ty Cobb. A light rain falling here in Philadelphia. The winds have calmed down. And we head to the 7th inning, and Joe Sewell will lead it off. Aaron Reed says he did a modern All-Stars game with the Braves and Mets earlier this morning. The Mets won at 3-2 in 13. Joe Murdy says, while I'm thinking of it, if I wanted to make Ruth into a pitcher in addition to being a hitter in action. Okay, so that was the thing that you asked. The easiest way to do it is the baseball history collection. Again, I think that without actually creating, and I could go in here right now and create you in this game, Joe. But I would say the easiest way to do it is just take one of his Red Sox seasons. But you actually could input numbers for Babe Ruth. Just go, baseball reference, total baseball, whatever you're using. Type them in, and the game will recalculate the ratings based on the stats. You don't even have to type in ratings. So that's another way to do it. But if you have the Dosh, just pick up the baseball history collection. And right now, on sale for $34. If you have had it before, you can get it for $24. But it's 18,000 retired players in the entirety of baseball. And lots of crazy subsets. This is one of them. Now, again, I created the logos, assigned at the parks and everything like that. But this is one of the great subsets of the baseball history collection. You will never run out of projects to do with just this. Also, you get Steve Tate's 5-year franchise files. You might just find a good hitting, pitching Babe Ruth file in there, and those are free. Steve kindly making those available. Over 180 teams to play with. I feel like such a shill for Action PC and Steve Tate, but and Steve Tate gets no compensation from Action PC for the work that he's done. So, and I still have to get that website up for baseball replays, so that we can. It's actually just a way to get some cup of coffee money for our wonderful Mr. Tate, who unselfishly took about 2.5 hours last night and did an in-depth tutorial of Action PC baseball. Walsh delivers now to Joe Sewell. Here's the 2-0. Sewell swings, fly ball, right field. Chief Wilson has it at the wall for out number 1. And yes, the Phillies indeed used Lifebuoy. Willie Cam, who was a Philadelphia Philly for a little while, also with Chicago White Sox, has walked twice. So seeing Ed Walsh very well thus far in this game. Walsh with the 1-1 now. Fastball. This one just a grounder to Baker at third, who has plenty of time, sets and throws onto Konieczny for out number 2. Catcher Steve O'Neill now grabbing a stick of ash from the barrel, walks to the plate. 0 for 2 in the contest. Big Ed Walsh with a 3-1 fastball, grounded back to Walsh. Walsh coming off the bump and taking care of Steve O'Neill. It is the middle of the 7th, and we are knotted at 3, baseball fans. So thanks for coming in. as Aaron Reed leads us in the rousing chorus of Take Me Out to the Ball Game, written by Jack Norworth and Albert von Tilzer. Made its debut on Broadway in 1908 and completely flopped, but through the use of, you know, what were those little viewographs or whatever they called them back in the day, it became viral and eventually became baseball's national anthem. And I'd love to, at a ballpark sometime, if they would actually have the lyrics up on the scoreboard so that people could actually, the song actually has 2 verses to it. All we sing is the refrain, the chorus. So here we go. So the infield looking bunt here as Donnie Bush leads it off in the bottom of the 7th for the Cobbs. Bush is 0 for 2. Sisler playing in shallow at first, and Willie Cam shading a few steps toward the plate at third. Stan Kovaleski has worked 6, 4 hits, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. So Bush, the lefty, Kovaleski not doing as well against lefties as he is righties, but not a big difference. But lefties hit 263 against Stan Kovaleski versus 254 for righties last season. Kovaleski deals. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Donnie Bush swings, and this one fouled onto the left. And I wanted to show you guys something that Steve didn't have a chance to talk about just really, really quickly. So he showed the batter pitcher analysis when you're in the roster, so outside of the game. But this one does something special in game. So let's say, for instance, we'll pretend that there's no count on Donnie Bush, and I wanted to pinch hit for Donnie Bush. So what this does inside game is it takes into account the situation in the game. So if there was a runner on, these would be some very different numbers. So this is something that is really, 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 really fun. So let's say, for instance, that I wanted to bring Shoeless Joe Jackson. Okay, so if I look at Shoeless Joe here, I see that his chance for a hit against Stan Kovaleski, he has a 31% chance, 31.3% chance to hit. Who wouldn't I want to bring in? For instance, Red Smith. Red Smith, only 16% chance. And this also breaks it down to a percentage chance for doubles, triples, home runs, a walk, a strikeout, runs. So this is really nice. Also, what's really, really cool is I could select any pitcher up here in this 1920s bullpen. So let's go to May, for instance. You see these numbers are going to switch up now. So against Jake May, these numbers change considerably. So, and these guys don't want to see Huck Betts coming in, apparently. His chances of, or maybe they do, high hit percent chance, but lower home run percent. But this is something that, again, because Steve didn't have a chance to look or show you this in the game, this is really, really nice. And this is a new addition to Action PC 2023. So outside, and here you can see down here, outcome percentages may change based on base situation and pitcher clutch rating. I've never seen anything like this in any digital baseball game, and we'll do it on the fly for you. So something to keep in mind. All right, the 1-2 coming now to Donnie Bush. Bush swings, fly ball right field. Babe Ruth has it in his sights and in his glove. So 1 down for Ray Schock, who's perfect 2 for 2 at the plate. Single and an RBI double. That happened in the 5th. Kovaleski winds and fires, full count. Fastball to Schock. Schock lays off. Ball 4 inside. So fastball missing. And Ray Schock aboard for the 3rd time in the contest. Ed Walsh, 0 for 2. Tie score, 1 away. Kovaleski deals to his mound opponent. Walsh swings, hard ground ball. Deep to short. Sewell's only plate. It's going to be a close one to first. Sisler with the long stretch. They retire Walsh, but moving to second on the play is Ray Schock. Back at the top of the order now. Ty Cobb is 2 for 3. Has himself an RBI. Kovaleski brings it the 0-2 to Ty Cobb. Cobb swings on this. Long fly ball to left, but down into the glove of left fielder Bobby Veach. side retired. No runs, no hits, no errors. 7 in the books here in Philadelphia's Baker Bowl. And it's the Ruths 3, the Cobbs 3. Thinking we'll look at after this game and maybe do a quick doubleheader and move into more modern baseball. Shock, shock, shock. How about it? As Stan Kovaleski will lead it off here in the 8th. Ed Walsh, the 2-2 pitch. Kovaleski, strike 3 called. So Ed Walsh picks up strikeout number 4. We got a good little pitcher's duo here going. Walsh threw 7 1/3, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Back to the top of the order now for the Raja. He is 1 for 2. Walsh with a 1-1 fastball and line to third. And nice play by Frank Baker, spearing that one out of the air. So 2 quick outs here in the top of the 8th inning, and the Ruths will send up gorgeous George Sisler now batting in the number 2 slot. 0 for 3. Walsh deals the 2-2. Sisler takes this fastball, bounding ball to first. Kenichi will take it to the bag himself, and the Ruths go quietly. We go to the bottom of the 8th, and the score remains 3-3. Home run Baker, Sherry McGee, Larry Doyle due up, the number 2, 3, 4 hitters for the 1910s, otherwise known as the Cobbs. Light rain continuing to fall here in Philadelphia. Not enough to concern our umpire. The umpire today for this game, the umpire singular, is Brick Owens, who got his nickname during the dead ball era. Again, a brutal, brutal time, and I strongly, again, suggest getting the book Tales from the Dead Ball Era. In a brawl, fans were throwing things onto the field. I guess somebody brought a brick to a ballpark, and Brick Owens was beamed by a brick, and hence his nickname. So umpire Brick Owen, working behind the plate. Should Baker get on base, he will then go behind the mound, behind Stan Kovaleski, called balls and strikes from there. Multiple umpires wouldn't become a regular thing in baseball until, I believe, 1914. All right, here's the delivery to home run Baker. First pitch swinging, and he gets a bunt down, and it's a good one. They were looking for Baker to swing away. The Ruths caught napping, and it's a bunt single for Baker. So the go-ahead run for the Cobbs aboard here in the bottom of the 8th, and it brings up Sherry McGee, who is nothing for 3. I'd probably look for McGee to bunt here to try to move Baker over. Kovaleski throws over, home run Baker back. Baker definitely a threat to steal with 24 last year. Kovaleski brings it home now. McGee swings on the first pitch, does get the bunt down. Sisler's only play will be to Hornsby covering at first. So sacrifice successful, and home run Baker now in scoring position with the go-ahead run. Larry Doyle 0 for 3. So frustrated against the great Stan Kovaleski. Kovaleski checks Baker, the 1-0 fastball. Doyle lines this one to right. Ruth back in the corner at the foul line, makes the catch. Tagging at second and moving to third is home run Baker. So 2 outs for Ed Kenichi. And we may just bring in a pinch hitter for Kenichi. Let's see what we have here in terms of first baseman. We got Prince Howe Chase. Chase with a 25% chance, so a little bit more of a chance to get a hit here. But Kovaleski just so tough. I'd like to save Sam Crawford. No, you know what? Let's bring in, just for fun, let us bring in Shoeless Joe Jackson. So we're going to bring in Jackson as a pinch hitter. Let's look at his numbers really quickly. 344 hitter, 6 home runs, 83 runs batted in, 22 steals. So Jackson in there now, and Jackson awaiting the delivery from Kovaleski from the stretch in the 3-1 to Shoeless Joe. Fastball, and Shoeless Joe lays off. This one inside, draws the walk. And here's Chief Wilson now. Runners at the corners for the Cobbs, 2 down. Shoeless Joe at first, home run Baker at third. Chief Wilson 0 for 3. And I think we're going to go to our bench and somehow Sam Crawford just seems to be calling out to me. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. And we're going to go ahead and bring in Sam Crawford to pinch hit. So Crawford's numbers, 352 average, 10 home runs, 22 triples, 93 runs batted in. Triples, big hit of the day in Sam Crawford's time. Hannes Wagner said that had Crawford played in Babe Ruth's era, he may have been the all-time home run king. Crawford, fearsome power hitter and speed. Wahoo Sam Crawford. All right, Jackson at first. Baker at third, 2 down, 3-3 the score in the bottom of the 8th. Kovaleski with the wind and the 3-1 pitch to Sam Crawford. Curveball and great call by the manager. Crawford picks up the RBI double. Baker consumed a score. Moving to third is Shoeless Joe Jackson, and he is safe. And the Cobbs now have a 4-3 lead over the Ruths here in the bottom of the 8th. So Crawford a threat to steal. Here's Donnie Bush 0 for 3. And we're going to look at our bench and see who we have left as far as shortstops. We do have Terry Turner in there as a shortstop, but I think we're going to allow Donnie Bush to bat. O'Neill out to have a word to Kovaleski. Kovaleski uncorks the 1-2 to Donnie Bush. Fastball swung on, fly ball to center field. Carey back on it and makes the catch to end the inning. We need to put some players out there at first and right field. So the Cobbs pick up a run on 2 hits. There were no errors. We have played 8 here at the Baker Bowl. The Cobbs now leading 4-3. So let's see who we have here at first base. And let's bring in Stuffy McGinnis. And we're going to have McGinnis take over for, man, this is a tough one, for Sam Crawford. And then in right field, looks like we're going to have to bring in Steve Evans as our right fielder. So Shoeless Joe out, and there we go. All right, 3 chances here for the Ruths here on opening day. And Babe Ruth is 0 for 3. Struck out twice and flied to deep right center. Ed Walsh looking strong out there on the mound. 4 strikeouts, 3 walks for 8 innings of work. Looking for the complete game win here. Walsh lets it go. The 0-2 curveball. And Babe Ruth, a swing and a miss. And that is strikeout number 5 for Big Ed Walsh. And the Sultan of SWAT will take a seat. Rather glumly light a cigar, eat a hot dog, have a beer, and say, we'll get him next time, Keed. As Bobby Veach steps in now. Bobby Veach, longtime Tiger, doubled back in the 6th. Ed Walsh with the 0-2. Fastball. Veach sends this one up the middle. Base hit. And Taryn for second despite Cobb's strong throw. And the tag by Larry Doyle not in time. Bobby Veach now with a tying run in scoring position. And the go-ahead run in Max Carey, who is 1 for 3. Singled his last time up, scoring Bobby Veach. Ed Walsh checks the runner. Full count on Carey, and Max Carey looks at one on the inside corner. So 2 down here, and it's down to Joe Sewell. Joe Sewell, nothing for 3. Walsh, 1 more check of Bobby Veach. Bobby Veach with 15 steals last season. Walsh brings it home. The 2-2 pitch to Joe Sewell, changeup. This one comebacker to Ed Walsh, on to Stuffy McGinnis, and the Cobbs take this one from the Ruths, 4-3. What a fun game here on this opening day. So Ed Walsh gets the win. He goes to 1-0 in the season. Stan Kovaleski takes the loss. He goes to 0-1. Highlights for the Ruths. Bobby Veach went 2 for 4 with 2 doubles. Rogers Hornsby 1 for 3. Including a 2-run shot. For the Cobbs, Ty Cobb himself goes 2 for 4 with the stolen bases. Ray Cracker Shock, 2 for 2 with a double and a stolen base. The only extra base hit in this game, really worth mentioning, was the one by Rogers Hornsby. Having a quick look at pitching, Stan Kovaleski pitched 6 hits, 4 runs, 1 earned, walked 3, struck out 5. So he starts the season with a 1.13 earned run average. Ed Walsh goes 9 complete, 3 runs, all earned. Was touched up for that Hornsby home run, walked 3, struck out 6. Starts the season with a 3.00 earned run average. Quick look here at our miscellaneous. And the MVP is Ed Walsh, game-winning RBI, who came off the bench, Sam Crawford. And that does it for this game, and we'll let these standings catch up to us here. Clinton Parks, you missed a great, yeah, that's okay. I understand it. Absolutely understand it. Missed you last night. Actually, it was actually a rather tame contest compared to the other ones. But the Baltimore Orioles move on, but we will see the White Stockings again. All right, still have a few people hanging out, so maybe we'll just do one more. Just need to check something here really quickly. And then we'll get to it. So Clinton, it's good to see you. You definitely are missed. Ken was enjoying it last night and, was just saying, oh, I wish this could go on and on and on and on. And coming up with a project that's going to kind of go along with McGreevy. So Ken and I appreciate your help, Clinton, if you'd like. I want to try to put together something 19th century. Don't know how we're going to do it yet with a very limited player pool, but we'll figure it out, right? All right, let's see what else is on the menu here, because I love this. This is my favorite. This is my favorite subset, I think, of the baseball history collection. So I think Beatles Eternally is going to shock everybody here. We're going to do a quote-unquote modern game. So here we go. So we have a choice here between the 1990s versus the 1980s, and that'd be Greg Maddux and Steve Rogers. Or we could do the 2000s versus the 1960s, John Smoltz and Don Drysdale. Of course, the game I would normally do would be the King Kellys versus the Hannes Wagners, and that's Pud Galvin, Jack Cheeseborough. And the other game on tap, the 1940s versus the 1930s, and that is the is it the Ralph Kiners? Yes, the Kiners versus the Garrigs, and that's Bob Feller and Carl Hubble. So, but why not? Let's do a modern game. Let's do a modern game. And I don't know. I guess we'll set 1980s as human. This should be fun. Let's play this game. And looks like we're going to be at we're going to be at Progressive Field. So we're going to make a trip to Cleveland. All right. And going to go ahead. This is the Ricky Hendersons, I called this team. All right. Let's do this. Welcome to Cleveland now. We're doing this second game of an unplanned twin bill, and this is opening day at Progressive Field for tonight's game. This is going to be between the Piazzas and the Hendersons. Greg Maddux will be opposing Steve Rogers. 53 degrees here in Cleveland, Ohio. Wind speed 7 miles per hour out to right center field, and the man in blue says,
"Play ball!"
All right. Starting defense here, first up for this excellent, for the Piazzas, I should say. Or I'm sorry, for the Hendersons, because there he is, right? All right, Tim Raines in left. Dale Murphy in center. Dewey Evans in right. So there you go, Clinton. There's a Red Soxer for you. From first to third, Keith Hernandez, who should be in the Hall of Fame. Ryan Sandberg at second. Cal Ripken at short. Wade Boggs at third. The kid Gary Carter catching, may his memory be eternal, and taking the mound and pitching Steve Rogers. Rogers last season with a 2.98 under an average, 14 wins, 12 losses, 259 and 2/3 innings pitched, 72 walks, 154 strikeouts. I like the fact that you call it Jacobs Field. I do like to call it that, but just looked up there and it said Progressive. But yeah, nice job. Isn't that a pretty park? All right, so Roberto Alomar will lead it off here for the Piazzas. So Alomar, 315 hitter last season, 16 home runs, 92 runs batted in, and serious wheels with 40 stolen bases. Steve Rogers has finished his warm-up pitches. We'll have a quick look at the weather here in Cleveland again. Sunny skies, wind out to right center at 7 miles per hour. Enjoy the game, guys. Steve Rogers ready to work now to Roberto Alomar. There's no DH. Oh, and Steve Rogers opens opening day here in Cleveland and promptly plunks Robbie Alomar. Not a great idea. I've decided to turn off the designated hitter for this entire league. So it's just those teams, didn't split them into leagues, so no DH. Kirby Puckett now steps in. Puckett hitting .318 of eternal memory. Kirby Puckett, 19 home runs, 100 runs batted in. So Gary Carter, pretty good arm there behind the plate. So try to keep this running game shut down. Alomar definitely dangerous on the base paths. Steve Rogers ready to fire it in. And there goes Alomar. The throw down by Carter, and they get Alomar. So pinpoint, strong peg. Gary Carter coming up, pegging fast. And Robbie Alomar is erased. So Puckett back in the box. The 1-0 count. Base is empty. Rogers lets it go. Puckett swings. And this one line to left, base hit. Up with it as Tim Raines gets it back into Cal Ripken. And Kirby Puckett aboard 11 steals last season. And here's Jeff Bagwell. Jeff Bagwell, .318 hitter, 43 home runs, 124 runs batted in. Rogers sets and delivers the 1-0 to Bagwell. Fastball. Bagwell sets this one high and deep and back and gone. Jeff Bagwell gets it all, takes Rogers downtown, and a big 2-run shot by Jeff Bagwell for the Piazzas. And tallying 2 here at the top of the first at Jacobs Field. And it doesn't get any easier for Steve Rogers as Larry Walker steps to the plate now. The right fielder, 28 home runs, 100 ribbies, a .327 average, 1 out, and the Piazzas having 2 on the board here in the top of the first. Rogers lets it go, the 3-1, and changeup, this one missing just low. Rogers a little bit frustrated out there on the mound. And always an interesting thing to see, how do pitchers recover after giving up a big bomb. So Larry Walker aboard, 16 steals again for him last season. And here is Mike Piazza, known, of course, called by JT Dutch, I believe, calls Mike Piazza our Lord and Savior. Mike Piazza, .338 hitter, 36 dingers, 110 runs batted in. Clinton Park says Bagwell, another Red Sox mistake. Joe Murdy says that fastball went out as fast as it went into Mr. Bagwell. And Joe Murdy saying that Dale Murphy was no doubt the Kyle Schwarber of his time. Downtown and all around, says Aaron Reed. All right, so Gary Carter sets the target. Steve Rogers with a check of Larry Walker at first. Here's the 1-2 delivery to Mike Piazza. Piazza swings on this one, and Ripken is going to go to Sandberg on the pivot to Keith Hernandez, the pitcher's best friend. Inning-ending double play, but Steve Rogers does not escape completely unscathed as the Piazzas, 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors. We played a half inning. The Piazzas 2, the Hendersons coming to bat. Let's look at the starting defense here for these Hendersons, or for the Piazzas, I'm sorry. This gets confusing. I'm so new to this and decided to be clever and create this after the players. So it's going to take me a couple games to get used to which team's which. I just thought it'd be boring to call it the 1980s, 1990s. All right, in left field, Albert Bell. In center, Kirby Puckett. In right, Larry Walker. First to third around the horn, Jeff Bagwell at first. Robbie Alomar at second. At short, Barry Larkin. At third, Robin Ventura. Catching, Mike Piazza, and pitching, the great Greg Maddux, one of the greatest of all times. Perhaps baseball's most intelligent scientific pitcher, but will come at you, just guts like crazy. Amazing careers with the Cobbs, with the Braves. Maddux is just nuts. A 2.46 earned run average, 18 wins, 8 losses, 248 and a thirds worked, 43 strikeouts, 43 walks, 190 strikeouts. The league last year hitting just 224 against Maddux. So Maddux will face Tim Raines. Raines to lead it off here, 307 hitter, 10 home runs, 57 ribbies. And Raines even faster than Robbie Alomar, 68 steals last year. Piazza sets the target now for Greg Maddux, who wheels and deals. First pitch, Raines tries to bunt his way aboard. Piazza pouncing on the ball, firing to Robbie Alomar, covering. So Tim Raines is erased, one down here in the bottom of the first. Ryan Sandberg now, Hall of Famer with the Chicago Cubs. 288 hitter, 21 homers, 84 runs batted in. And this is where we need Aaron to do his Harry Carey. Greg Maddux winds and deals the 0-2 to Sandberg. Change up, fly ball to shallow center, coming in on it, Kirby Puckett. And he will make the grab for out number 2. Wade Boggs now coming in, and as was customary for Wade Boggs, not only a big something with chicken before the game, but in his first at bat would draw a Hebrew character in the box. So here is Boggsy, the hot corner man, 335 average, 9 home runs, 68 runs batted in. Maddux deals. Wade Boggs cuts on this one, grounded to short. Robbie Alomar to Jeff Bagwell for the 4-3 putout. So the Hendersons go quietly, no runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the top of the second. The Piazzas 2, the Hendersons nothing. Aaron Reese is actually downtown, and all around would be a grand slam. Anything less than that is a door down. We'll take it either way, Aaron. Love the color. Love the color commentary. Albert Bell now will lead it off. I always like to think of Albert Bell as the happiest man in baseball. I mean, look at how amiable Albert looks, and look at how dour Steve Rogers looks. All right. Albert Bell, a monster at the dish. 308 average, 41 home runs, 127 runs batted in. And Albert Bell with the occasional speed too, 11 steals. Steve Rogers looks in the 0-2, and Albert Bell looks at a called strike 3, this curveball painting the black on the outside corner. So Bell is retired, and here's one of my favorite players, not only from the Cincinnati Reds, but just all around, Barry Larkin. What a great, great player was Barry Larkin. 310 average, 17 dingers, 72 runs batted in for Barry Larkin. Remember those great Reds teams in the 1990s? Big, big Barry Larkin fan. Steve Rogers wheels and deals. Full count on Larkin. Change up, missing. This one high and away, and Barry Larkin aboard. And Barry Larkin will pilfer some bases for you. 32 steals last season. And now here, late of the White Sox, is Robin Ventura. Ventura with a 293 average, 31 homers, 99 batted in for him. Larkin, good leadoff first. Steve Rogers with the check of the runner, appears in, has the sign from Gary Carter. The wind, and nope, throws over, and Larkin back ahead of Keith Hernandez tag. Rogers ready to deal again. Here's the 1-1. Robin Ventura golfs this one to Sandberg. Sandberg to Ripken on the pivot to Keith Hernandez, and inning-ending double play. So nothing across, and we've played 1.5 here at Jacobs Field, Progressive Field, whichever you want to call it. And it's the Piazzas 2, the Hendersons, nothing. Leading it off here, Dewey Evans from the White Sox, or Red Sox. 291 hitter, 29 home runs and 97 runs batted in. Clinton Park says, just so you know, Maddox had a losing season second year 1987. His next losing record was 2008 when he retired. What a dominant pitcher. And, you know, very, very easy to say the name Greg Maddux in the same breath as Walter Johnson, Carl Hubble, Sandy Koufax, Bob Gibson. Great, great, great pitcher. And there are not enough superlatives to describe Greg Maddux. Just what an amazing pitcher. Always hated when when the Pirates had to face Maddux, even when we had those good teams in the 90s. Maddux always seemed to have our number. All right, so Dewey in there against Greg Maddux. Here is the 1-0. Evans takes this changeup and a little too hopper to short. Larkin has it and fires on to Jeff Bagwell for the 6-3 put-up. 1 up, 1 down here now for Keith Hernandez, who shared MVP honors in 1979 with Wilver Dornell Stargell. Hernandez, a .312 average, 14 home runs, 94 runs batted in. 355 wins for Greg Maddux, absolutely. Oh, I believe, yes, Clinton, without a doubt, Greg Maddux would have been devastating in the dead ball era. Yes. Maddux is one of those pitchers that could have pitched in any era and would have been just a monster. Absolutely, Clinton. I couldn't agree with you more, man. 1000%. Maddux deals now to Hernandez. The 1-2. This one, good fly ball, but this one's going to twist foul. So Hernandez getting good contact in that ball, but getting around a little early on the Maddux delivery. So 1-2 on Hernandez. Maddux winds and fires, and Keith Hernandez grounds this one to second. Alomar bobbles the ball. That's his first error. So E4 and Hernandez aboard thanks to the Robbie Alomar error. Hernandez not necessarily a threat to steal. Cal Ripken Jr. So Ripken, 301 average, 33 homers, 97 runs batted in. Hernandez, conservative lead off first, 1 down. Maddux with the pitch. Ripken swinging his changeup, line to center, and Ripken tearing for 2 and makes it. So Ripken somehow getting good contact on that ball and gets his money's worth. Hernandez stops at third, thought about going home, but Kirby Puckett, good arm and coming in strong on that Ripken extra base hit. So Hernandez at third, Ripken at second, and another one of my favorite all-time baseball players, just such a good guy, Dale Murphy. Dale Murphy hitting .279, 27 home runs, 103 runs batted in. And I should hasten to add, I'm not a Braves fan, but I'm a big, I like Dale Murphy, like Bob Horner, of course, love Hank Aaron, Rico Carty, some great Braves. I just have never forgiven them for 1992 and never will. All right, so Dale Murphy ready to face Maddux. Maddux having to work from the stretch now with 1 down. First base is open, and I do not see Maddux intentionally walking Murphy to get to Gary Carter. So Maddux from the stretch, and the 1-0. Murphy swings, chopper to second. Alomar will go to Bagwell for his only play. Coming in to score is Keith Hernandez. And the Hendersons cutting into the Piazza's lead now. It's 2-1. Clinton says he's in the background. He's got an early 1970 going. Mickey Lalich versus Luis Tiant. And we found out in last night, we were looking through our, and I have a cat down here by me, I think. Yeah, my little gray cat. Hey, baby. Anyhow, that Luis Tiant has our only no-hitter in the Shanks League, and we're going into September 1st. All right. Back now to it. Let me just check something here. No, we're good. All right, just checking on the Cats. All right, Gary Carter batting with Cal Ripken just 90 feet away at third. Carter's numbers look like this: a .277 hitter last season with 21 homers, 89 runs batted in. Maddux with the 3-0 changeup, and this one missing. So Greg Maddox delivering his first free pass, and runners at the corners, and that brings up pitcher Steve Rogers. Rogers, a 138 hitter, 4 runs batted in last year. Maddox lets it go to his mound opponent. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Steve Rogers. Changeup, bounding ball to Barry Larkin at short, and the nice throw on to Jeff Bagwell to retire Steve Rogers. But 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error. We've played 2. It's the Piazzas 2 and the Hendersons 1. Greg Maddox will lead it off, and then back at the top of the order for the Piazzas, and Robbie Alomar and Kirby Puckett. Joe Murdy says, I'll give you a big cheers to that there, Beatles. I couldn't agree more on the Braids and Dale Murphy. Yeah, really like Murph a lot. What an excellent, just good guy and a damn fine baseball player. All right, here is Greg Maddox, a 177 hitter, 4 runs batted in last season for Greg. Steve Rogers has walked 1, struck out 2, and got touched up with a dinger in this game. That one happened back in the first inning. Steve Rogers, the 3-0 to Maddox, and Maddox lines this one to center. Dale Murphy playing it on the hop, and Maddox going for 2, and this one looks like we need to look at, let's look at just the text replay. So rope to center, diving catch, can't come up with it. All right, so there we go. One thing that out of the park baseball would show that this chalkboard does not. So every once in a while I do have to look at the play-by-play. So this one got by Dale Murphy, and Maddox has himself a double. So that's the 3rd base knock for the Piazzas in this game, and it brings up Robbie Alomar. We're back at the top of the order. Alomar was punked by Steve Rogers to start the game. What a way to start an opening day, huh? Steve Rogers deals the 1-1 pitch now. Curveball, base hit, left field. Murphy up with it. Maddox rounding 3rd, but they're going to flash the stop sign. So runners at the corners now for the Piazzas, and it brings up Kirby Puckett. So Kirby lined to single to left back in the 1st. Alomar, again, might want to look for him to steal. But Gary Carter gunned Alomar down back in the 1st inning. Rogers brings it home from the stretch in the 0-1. There goes Alomar again. Carter comes up gunning, and this time it's Robbie Alomar winning the race, picking up his 1st steal of the season. 2 in scoring position now for the Piazzas. And nobody out. Greg Maddox at 3rd, Robbie Alomar at 2nd, and Kirby Puckett. Jeff Bagwell, who hit that big 2-run shot, waits on deck. The count 0-2 on Puckett. Here's the Rogers delivery. Curveball, Kirby Puckett, grounder to short. Ripken in on that ball, fires on to Hernandez to retire Puckett, but coming in to score is Greg Maddox. And the Piazzas now add a little padding to that lead. It is 3-1 here in the top of the 3rd. 1 away, Robbie Alomar at 3rd, and here's Jeff Bagwell, 2-run shot back in the 1st. Steve Rogers peers in, has the sign from battery mate Gary Carter. The stretch and the 3-1. Fastball, base hit, left field, and up with it is Tim Raines. Robbie Alomar will come in to score. Jeff Bagwell now with 3 RBI in this game. And here's Larry Walker. It's 4-1 Piazzas. So again, this is the 90s versus the 80s. Larry Walker walked back in the 1st. Steve Tate informed us in last night's stream that that I guess there's going to be another really cool addition to the baseball history collection, and that is not only broken down into decades, but apparently now by franchise by decade. That's going to be really cool because the only other program I know that does something similar to that is Diamond Mine Baseball. So I don't like to wish my life away, but hurry up, Wednesday, 28 June. All right, Jeff Bagwell on at 1st. Larry Walker walked his last time up. Bagwell with the occasional base stealer with 19. Rogers throws over Bagwell back safely ahead of the Hernandez tag. Rogers brings it now to Larry Walker. Here's the 3-0 fastball. This one missing low for ball 4. And Walker will take the easy trot down to first. So 2 on now for the Piazzas and 2 in. Bagwell at second, Larry Walker at first, and here is, as JT Dutch would say, our Lord and Savior, Mike Piazza. He grounded into a double play back in the first. Steve Rogers from the set and the 2-0. Fastball, Piazza swings, base hit. This one will get into right field. Bagwell rounding third. Evans and Murphy. Murphy's throw home. Carter's tag. And nice hook slide by Jeff Bagwell. The ball getting away now from Gary Carter, and the runners will move up. Larry Walker at third. Mike Piazza at second. And it's now 5-1 in favor of the 1990s Piazzas. And Albert Bell now coming in. Waiting on deck is Barry Larkin. So first base open. What will Steve Rogers do here? Albert Bell struck out back in the second. John DFW, he says, I got so many Dale Murphy autographs back in the 1980s, mostly at spring training. What a lucky man you are. Clinton Parks saying that Dale Murphy, the 1980s version of Sherry McGee, not quite enough to be in the hall, says Clinton Parks. Yeah, it's too bad baseball doesn't have that hall of just super cool baseball players, because Dale Murphy certainly belongs there. What a guy. I don't know anybody who's a student of the history of the game, or who, maybe had the privilege of seeing Dale Murphy play or knew Dale Murphy or whatever. I've never heard anything bad said about Dale Murphy, unlike the guy who's at the dish now. But let's not take anything away from Albert Bell's great Hall of Fame ability. All right, Rogers working from the stretch. 3-2 count, and Bell, base hit. This one between second and short, and Larry Walker will come in to score. Albert Bell has himself an RBI single. In the 1990 Piazzas running away with this game. It is now 6-1. 4 plated here in the top of the third as Barry Larkin steps in. The great Cincinnati shortstop walked back in the second. Albert Bell, 11 steals. Carter sets the target. Steve Rogers, shaking off Carter, now has one he likes. Here is the 2-0 pitch to Barry Larkin. Changeup, fly ball to left, and at the warning track, Tim Raines has it, tagging at third, and coming in to score is Mike Piazza. So 5 runs in, it is now 7-1 Piazzas. Robin Ventura in there, he is 0-1, grounded to second. Rogers brings it home. There goes Bell. Ventura grounds this one to second. Sandberg will go quickly to Hernandez to retire Ventura on the 4-3 put outside, retired, but 5 runs, 5 hits, no errors. We go to the bottom of the third here, Jacobs Field, Cleveland, Ohio. And it's the 1990s Piazzas 7, the 1980s Hendersons 1. And, of course, the sharp-eyed among you will notice that Ricky Henderson not in the starting lineup. Tim Raines is 0 for 1 in the game, bunted to the catcher last time. Maddox deals the 0-2. And Raines scorches this one to right. Larry Walker up with it. A strong throw to second. And Larkin's tagged on in time. And Tim Raines, who tried to bunt his way on his last time up, now gets a slashing double to lead off here in the bottom of the third inning. Brings up Ryan Sandberg, who's 0 for 1. Tim Raines with speed out there, 68 steals last season. Maddox from the set and the 0-1. Changeup, Sandberg swings, grounded to Larkin at short. Raines is going to move, advance on the play, and bad throw. And that's going to be a bad throw by Robin Ventura. Score that E5, and coming around to score on that is Tim Raines. So here come the 1980 Hendersons, Harry and the Hendersons, if you remember that movie. It's now 7-2. Sandberg aboard at first. Sandberg with 27 steals. Wade Boggs grounded to second back in the first, now steps to the plate. Maddox checks Sandberg at first. Here's the 1-2 to Wade Boggs. Changeup Bogsy sends this one to Alomar in second. Alomar to Larkin, back to Bagwell for the twin killing. So quickly 2 down here now as Dewey Evans steps in, former right fielder for the Red Sox, grounded to short in the second. Evans in the box now. Maddox has the sign from Mike Piazza. Here is the wind and the 1-0. Change-up. Come back over the mound. Maddox fields it nicely onto Jeff Bagwell to retire Evans in the side. But 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, and 3 complete here at Jacobs Field. We go to the top of the 4th. It's the Piazza 7 and the Hendersons 2. As we continue here, Greg Maddox in now. Maddox 1 for 1. So Maddox, not necessarily known for the stick, but rather his great pitching. Line to double back in the 3rd. Steve Rogers just having a rough time of it right now. And actually Steve Rogers is out, so Oro Hershiser in. That was quick. Let's look at Oro Hershiser's number. Steve Rogers is done for Oro Hershiser, a 2.92 ERA last season, 15 and 12, 234 and a thirds innings pitched, 72 walks, 160 strikeouts. So Hershiser is going to do his best to try to keep these Piazzas quiet now moving forward. And here is Robbie Alomar, 1 for 1. Hershiser ready to deal. Here it comes, the 1-1 pitch. Alomar swings in this changeup. A little slow roller to Ryan Sandberg. Quick snap on to Keith Hernandez at first for the 4-3 putout. 2 away here, and Kirby Puckett comes in. So he has a single and an RBI he has a single in the first and an RBI in the 3rd. Hershiser lets it go, the 1-0. Kirby Puckett sends this little 2-hopper to 3rd. Wade Boggs sets and fires across the diamond to retire Puckett in the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. 3.5 in the books here in Cleveland. And the score, the Piazza 7, the Hendersons 2. Keith Hernandez will lead it off here. The number 5, 6, 7 hitters, Hernandez, Ripken, and Dale Murphy. Hernandez, nothing for 1 in the game. Was safe in an error back in the 2nd. Piazza sets the target. Maddox with the wind in the 2-0 pitch. Changeup. Hernandez come back on the mound. Maddox off to the bump from his left and fires on to retire Keith for out number 1. And here is Cal Ripken now. Ripken 1 for 1. Doubled back in the 2nd. Maddox ready to deal. He fires it in. The 1-2 changeup. Ripken swings. Fly ball to left, going back on, and Albert Bell on the track makes the catch. So a big loud out for Cal Ripken Jr. for out number 2. And here comes Dale Murphy. Dale Murphy 0 for 1. Grounded to 2nd, scoring Keith Hernandez. Maddox brings it the 0-2, and Dale Murphy cannot come up with anything except air on that one. So nothing across. We've played 4. It's 7-2 in favor of the 1990s Piazzas. Jeff Bagwell with 3 runs batted in will lead it off here. Bats in the number 3 slot here for the Piazzas. Will be followed by Larry Walker and Mike Piazza. Jeff Bagwell, of course, 2 for 2. Had that 2-run shot in the 1st, and then an RBI single scoring Robbie Alomar in the 3rd. Carter sets the target. Hershiser into his wind in the 1-1. Fastball, Bagwell. This one just a soft fly ball in foul territory in the 3rd base side. Bogsy giving chase and makes the catch at the railing, reaching in and pulling it out of the crowd. So 1 down as former Colorado Rocky and Montreal Expo and Hall of Famer Larry Walker strides to the plate. Walker has been seeing Henderson's pitching pretty well. He walked twice against Steve Rogers. See how he does against Oral Hershiser. Bernard says, have to run. Thanks, beautiful for the game. Absolutely, Bernard. Thank you for coming in. Always good to have you in here. Looking forward to the next 1950 Red Sox game and also the beginning of your Odyssey as well with Action PC. You have 2 great baseball games there, my friend. Take care. Have a wonderful day. All right, back to game action as the ushers kindly see Bernard out to his Lamborghini. Hershiser deals now. First pitch to Larry Walker. Fastball, and this one line to center. Base hit. Sandberg, this one just getting under his glove. So good contact there by Larry Walker. Not trying to pull the ball and get some good contact on it. So Walker aboard, Mike Piazza now. Piazza RBI scoring Jeff Bagwell back in the third. Hershiser deals. Piazza on the 1-0 fastball, chopped up the first base line. Hernandez is going to go to Ripken. Ripken back to Hernandez for a 3-6-3 inning-ending double play. We head to the bottom of the fifth inning, and the score remains 7-2. The line thus far for the 1990s Piazza: 7 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors, 1 man left. For the 1980s Hendersons: 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 stranded out there on the dirt. Here's the kid, Gary Carter now. Carter in the game, walked back in the second. Greg Maddux ready to work to him now, and Piazza not bothering to really put down any signs. Maddux knows what he's going to pitch, and he's going to bring it. Here's the 1-1 to Carter. Change up. This one, just a little golf tap to Larkin at short. On to Bagwell to retire Gary Carter for the first out. Oral Hershiser now making his first plate appearance of the season, on in relief of Steve Rogers. So Hershiser, a .216 hitter last season with 5 runs batted in. Maddux ready to deal. 2-2 on Hershiser, and that changeup. Nice off-speed pitch. This one down the middle, just absolutely freezing Hershiser. Second strikeout for Greg Maddux, and the lineup turns around, and we go back to the top of the order. Tim Raines, who is 1 for 2. Doubled his last time up. Greg Maddux with the 1-2. This little change up. This one just bounded up the first base line. Jeff Bagwell will take this one 3 unassisted. Side retired. Top of the 6th now. This game moving more quickly. It is 7-2. And Cousin Ken Castro coming in for the doubleheader. Yeah, the first game you would have liked a little better, Cousin Ken. It was the Ty Cobbs versus the Babe Ruth, so the 1910s versus the 1920s. The Cobbs held on and won 4-3. All right, so Ken was out doing some grocery shopping. All right, Albert Bell here will lead it off here for these 1990s Piazzas. Bell in the game. Last time, RBI single scoring Larry Walker. Oral Hershiser into his motion. Full count to Bell, who chops this one to third. Boggs sets and fires across the diamond. Keith Hernandez will take it for out number 1. Barry Larkin now. Larkin has walked and has a sacrifice in the third, scoring Mike Piazza. 7-2 your score here in the 6th at Progressive Field on opening day. Second game of a doubleheader. Hershiser lets it go to Barry Larkin. Fastball, and fastball missing outside, and the dangerous Barry Larkin in terms of speed is aboard for Robin Ventura. Ventura's big bat not awake today. Grounded into a double play back in the second, and grounded to second in the third. Hershiser with a check of Larkin at first. Full count now, payoff pitch, and Robin Ventura. This one a late called strike 3. Ventura arguing with the umpire, and the umpire just brushing off the plate. So Greg Maddux steps in with 2 down. Larkin at first. Larkin's made no attempt to try to steal at this at bat, or during this inning, I should say. Maddux with a double and grounded back to the pitcher's last time up. Hershiser brings it. Maddux swings in his fastball. Base hit. So Greg Maddux with a single and a double in this game. Murphy up with the ball, throws to third, and Larkin slides in there well ahead of the throw. So runners at first and third, 2 away. And here is Robbie Alomar back at the top of the order for the 1990s Piazzas. So Maddux helping his cause today. Robbie Alomar was hit by a pitch, lined a single to left, and grounded to second. Who pitched for the Cobbs? Big Ed Walsh. So it was Ed Walsh versus Stan Kovaleski. It was a good matchup, cousin. But Walsh getting it done today. Babe Ruth struck out 3 times against Ed Walsh in that first game, Ken. And the next game on tap in this league is the King Kellys versus the Hannes Wagners. So the 1800s versus the first decade of the 20th century. So 1900 to 1909. So or 1901 to 1910, however you want to do it. So yeah, that'll be a fun one. You weren't around. I was going to do that one, but for the second game of the Twin Bill, but to dispel the rumor around the community that I don't do any modern baseball, well, here we go. Here's some modern baseball. Yeah, Clinton talks about errors being the difference in that game, and he is right. So Babe Ruth. Well, Ken, if you want to stick around, it's just you, me, and Clinton, it looks like. I can do one more, and it would be the 1800s and 1900s. So the King Kellys versus the Wagners. You can slingshot back and forward in time. If not, do the game tomorrow. Maybe we'll do it as part of the Twin Bill tomorrow, because we've got the 1912 Red Sox and 1884 Providence Grays tomorrow evening. Yep, it's Pud Galvin and Jack Cheesebro. Fuck the community. Only when it matters. Here's our family. All right, let's do this. Let's get this modern baseball through, and we'll go back in time again. Robbie Alomar, 1 for 2. Barry Larkin at third. Greg Maddux at first. Hershiser from the stretch in the 2-2 delivery to Robbie Alomar. Fastball chopped to short. Cal Ripken ranging to his right. Fires on to Keith Hernandez. Side retired. No runs. 1 hit. No errors. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Piazza's 7. Henderson's 2. Ryan Sandberg leads it off here. Sandberg safe in a throwing error. Tim Raines scored. That was back in the 3rd. So Henderson's having a rough time against this 1990 squad. Greg Maddux with the 1-2 delivery. Changeup in there for Steve Wright 3. Greg Maddux fans his 3rd. And here is Wade Boggs. Boggs nothing for 2. Grounded into a double play in the 3rd. Greg Maddux fires it in. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Changeup. Boggs liner right to 3rd. Leaping grab by Jeff Bagwell. 2 down. Bagwell just having a grand old time today, along with Greg Maddux. So Bagwell and Maddux, should the Piazzas hang on to win, and I think they will, should get co-MVP honors in this game. Dewey Evans now 0 for 2. He's grounded out twice. Greg Maddux with the 3-1 delivery. Changeup, and Dewey swings. Great play, diving stop by Barry Larkin, and strong, accurate throw to Jeff Bagwell to retire Dewey for the 3rd out. No runs, no hits, no errors. 6 in the books here at Jacobs Field, Progressive Field. 7-2. Leading off here, Kirby Puckett. Puckett 1 for 3. RBI back in the 3rd. Hershiser on in relief. The 1-2 delivery. Curveball. Base hit over the head of Ryan Sandberg into right field. And Kirby Puckett is aboard. Jeff Bagwell now strides to the plate. 3 runs batted in for him. Kirby Puckett leads off first. Again, he will pick his spots, but I doubt he'll run against Gary Carter. Hershiser nonetheless with a check of the runner. Here is the set and the 1-1 pitch. Fastball chopped down the 3rd base. Boggs will go to Sandberg, but Puckett breaking up that double play. Late throw, leaping throw by Cal Ripken, unable to get Jeff Bagwell. So Bagwell aboard in the fielder's choice. 1 down as Larry Walker steps in. Mick F. joins us here in Cleveland. He says, hey Beatles, tied up today, missed the first game. Hope all is well with the gang. Absolutely, everything going great. So, as Clinton Parks says, old-time radio baseball with that newfangled Marconi. Perfect. Nice. Good to see you in here, Mick. So Bernard was in earlier and pulled the trigger in Action PC Baseball. He seems to be very excited about it. So, already come up with some ideas that he wants to do. All right, Bagwell at first, 1 away for Larry Walker, who is 1 for 1. Singled his last time up. He's walked twice. Hershiser with a 2-2 pitch to Walker.
Strike three.
And curveball, swing and a miss. So the big hammer by Oral Hershiser takes care of Larry Walker for the second out of the inning. And that brings forth JT Dutch's Lord and Savior, Mike Piazza. Piazza with an RBI back in the third. He grounded to third into a double play last time up. Hershiser checks Bagwell at first. The 0-1 delivery. Curveball. Piazza swings. Fly ball to medium center. Dale Murphy making the easy catch. Middle of the seventh. It is 7-2. Mick, that'd be nice, but you know what? Love the game, so it's all good. I should write to Dave, though, and say that I forgot to apply my discount coupon to the baseball history collection, since I've had it not once, not twice, not 3 times, but I have 6 different editions of it. So I should have picked it up for 24 bucks, but you know what? The guy's great with customer service, sales all the time, so you know what? At the 34 bucks is all good. Yeah, I love this game. I really do. As much as I really dig out of the park baseball and MLB The Show, something just keeps drawing me back to this one. All right, anyhow, Keith Hernandez will start the festivities here in the bottom of the 7th. Time running out here for the 1980 Rickey Hendersons. Hernandez has grounded out twice, but he was safe in an error back in the 2nd. Greg Maddux with the 0-1. Changeup. Hernandez just a little too hopper to Alomar at 2nd. Alomar with the underhanded toss to Jeff Bagwell for the 3 putout. 1 down here in the bottom of the 7th in Cleveland. Cal Ripken Jr. now. Doubled back in the 2nd. Maddux deals 2-2. And Ripken, this is a carbon copy. This one, Alomar to Bagwell. 2 up, 2 down here for Dale Murphy, who gets a lot of love in this community, deservedly so. Dale struck out back in the 4th his last time up. Greg Maddux sets and fires the 2-1. Murphy swings. This one, hopper to Ventura at 3rd. The throw across the diamond to Bagwell. And 1, 2, 3 go the Hendersons. We go to the top of the 8th. And the score remains 7-2. So Ken Castro giving a big greeting there to McF. Sleep Baseball the last 2 months, and it seems to work. Sleepbaseball.com. There he is, Mr. Tate, Mr. Tate, Mr. Tate. So Bernard informed me today in the game 1 of this baseball, whatever I'm doing today, I'm using the baseball history collection, that he pulled the trigger on. He's doing the Action PC thing. Steve is our guru in this game and did a wonderful 2.5 hour. It was supposed to be an overview, but Steve went in depth. So if you're new to Action PC Baseball, of course Steve calls a good game, but if you're looking for an online manual, as Greg Lang said last night in Steve's broadcast, Steve is the manual. Check it out. Required viewing if you are an Action PC noob or veteran. All right, Hershiser could be running out of gas. He's on a relief. He's good for a few more pitches. But deep bullpens for both of these squads. As Albert Bell steps in now, Bell is 1 for 3. 3rd game coming up after this one will be the King Kellys versus the Hannes Wagners. So we went from old-time baseball to modern baseball. We're going to go back to old-time baseball. Hershiser deals. Albert Bell swings, fly ball. Dale Murphy has it in his sights and in his glove. So quick out, 1 up, 1 down for Barry Larkin. Larkin has walked twice and a sack RBI for him. Carter sets the target. Hershiser with the 0-2. Larkin, high pop-up in the infield. Ripken and Boggs converging, but Boggs calling off Ripken. So 2 up, 2 down for Robin Ventura. Ventura struck out his last time up, grounded into a double play earlier in the game. Hershiser with the 1-2. Ventura turns in this fastball, fly ball down the right field line, and in the corner, Dewey Evans makes the catch. Side retired. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning, and the 1990s Piazza is holding on 7-2 over the 1980s Hendersons. President or Professor Tate, absolutely. So Mick F says that Steve's video is bookmarked for near future reference. Good stuff. Cousin Ken saying that the APA convention began last night. Wouldn't that be? That'd be so much fun to be part of. All right. Here is Gary Carter. Gary Carter, nothing for 1. Greg Maddux now with a 1-0. Gary Carter swings, ground ball, chopper to Larkin. Larkin up with it and onto Bagwell. Close play at first, bang, bang. But they do get Gary Carter 1 away. The organist serenading the crowd here in Cleveland as Oral Hershiser comes in. And Hershiser's day is done. So let me see. So my good managing worked in the Cobbs Ruths game here. Let's see what happens. Who knows? I'm just bringing in George Brett anyhow, because I like George Brett. Man's got a temper. All right. Maybe George Brett can get something going here for this 1980s squad. Actually, I don't have a horse in this race, but still, I like George Brett. George Brett, 332 average, 22 home runs, 96 ribbies. All right. There we go. George Brett was hoping to be a spokesman for Harbor Freight until he learned that they don't sell roofing tar. So bats from the left. Greg Maddux deals the 3-1 to Brett. Changeup, and here we go. Extra base hit. Brett pulls into second. How about that? Can I pick a pinch hitter or can't I? All right, so again, you got to see a little look there for those of you. Steve didn't get a chance to show it. The batter-pitcher matchup screen in game. So good stuff. MV joining us here in Cleveland for, well, you missed one game. We're in game 2, and we're going to do a rare triple header. So, calling for rain tomorrow. Yep. Up there in New England. It's been rather cool here in Pennsylvania. All right, here's Tim Raines now. He's going to try to get George Brett around. Tim Raines with a double in this game. He is 1 for 3. Greg Maddux checks Brett at second. And here's the full count. Changeup. Raines does nothing but just a little soft chopper to Larkin at short, who fires on to Bagwell to take care of Raines. 2 down. Will George Brett have wasted a triple? Ryan Sandberg, nothing for 3. Struck out his last time up. Maddux with the 1-0 pitch. Changeup, and Sandberg slaps this one to Barry Larkin for the routine 6-3 putout onto Jeff Bagwell. We go to the 9th, and we need a reliever. I think we're just going to give somebody some innings at this point. I should let the community pick. Let's bring in, it's an embarrassment of riches here. You know what, just because I'm bringing in Kent Colby. I'm not even looking at the metrics on the other side there. Oh, okay, so only 13% chance of giving up a hit. So Teak in there. So to Colby, 244, 2.44 under an average, 9 and 6, 19 saves, 118 innings pitched, 39 walks, 66 strikeouts. The league hit 220 against Teak last year. Finishing his warm-up pitches, he will face his opposite number, Greg Maddux. Maddux having a hell of a day at the plate, baseball fans. He's 2 for 3. Teak deals to Maddux, the 1-0. Maddux chops this one to second. Sandberg underhanded toss to Keith Hernandez for out number 1. Tecalvi's job is to keep these Piazzas quiet to give the Hendersons a chance to make up this 5-run deficit. Back at the top of the order now for the 1990s Piazzas and Robbie Alomar. Alomar 1 for 3. Teague deals. Alomar does have a stolen base and fastball missing. This one almost in the dirt. Killed a couple worms there. Tecalvi with that crazy, almost underarm delivery. I think Tecalvi was something like 6'8" or 6'9", big, tall dude. Got to meet Tecalvi, one of the coolest people. Just Teague was so cool. Just recently elected to the Pirates Hall of Fame. Kirby Puckett 2 for 4. Alomar at first. Teague checks to Alomar, and Puckett pops this one behind the plate. Carter going back on it, and he's going to run out of real estate here. Carter back in the crouch, flashes the sign to Tecalvi. Tecalvi with a check of Alomar at first. One away, the 1-2 pitch to Kirby Puckett. Curveball. This one called strike 3. So Puckett just froze on that little knee buckler pitched by Tecalvi. And here's Jeff Bagwell, who, along with Greg Maddux, should pick up co-MVP honors in this game. Bagwell with 3 runs batted in today. 2 down. Tecalvi deals. Bagwell swings in the first pitch and fouls this one back. Count 0-1 now on Bagwell. Here's the delivery now from Tecalvi. Fastball plunks Jeff Bagwell. So a hit batsman, 2 aboard. Robbie Alomar at second, Jeff Bagwell at first, and here's Larry Walker 1 for 2. Tecalvi deals. Full count. Changeup. Changeup misses, and Tecalvi in trouble here. Mike Piazza, and with 2 outs, we're going to lift Teague. We're taking him out, man. And, boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'll tell you what, with Dave Smith, it might be just a bit of a trade-up here. Who's up here? Piazza, huh? Let's bring in Dave Smith. So Tecalvi's day is done. He is responsible for the bases sold out situation. Smith's numbers a 2.40 earned run average, 5 wins, 4 losses, 17 saves, 24 walks, 51 strikeouts, a 220 league average against him last season. So pretty similar to Tecalvi. But Teague not getting it done. Smith deals. Here's the pitch. Fastball and a hit batsman. What is going on here? The 1980s Henderson's plunking batters all over the place. Brings in another run. It's 8-2, and we're just going to go ahead and let Albert Bell swing the 1-2. Bell swings, base hit, left field. And it's 10-2, and with the community's permission, we are just going to we're gonna zoom to the end of the game. Yep, good call on my part. There was no way Hendersons were going to catch up. After all, we're not talking 19th century baseball here. For the victorious Mike Piazzas, who go to 1-0 here opening day, 10 runs, 11 hits, 2 errors. For the 1980s Hendersons, 2 runs, 3 hits, and no errors. Not a lot to speak about when you have such a blowout like this. Greg Maddux struck out 3. Really just no dominant performance by either pitcher. So let's see who gets. So Jeff Bagwell, Greg Maddux given the MVP, but I'm going to award co-MVP to Jeff Bagwell in this game, and that does it. All right, so that is game number 2. Yep, Darth Tate is in there. So there's something that I want to, this is just fun before we go to this last game. And this is a little account about Tyrus Raymond Cobb. Okay, so this was in a game that Cobb played. This was against the New York Highlanders, And I think this will be, I think you guys will have a lot of fun with this. All right. So, and again, I'm reading from Tales from the Deadball Era by Mark Halfin and reading this for fair use under copyright law. So, with the Tigers trailing 5-3, Cobb doubled in 2 runs. The second scored by Donnie Bush when the umpire John Egan ruled safe on a close play at home. The entire Highlanders left or infield um, rushed at Egan, protesting the call, but no one requested timeout. And this is a fun little story, just really, really quickly. So, under such circumstances, it is the custom of the base runner to sit down on the sack and wait for something to turn up. But Cobb, observing the third base was unguarded, trotted amicably up there. No one saw him, so he tiptoed gingerly along, along toward the group at the plate. He did not come under the observation of the public until he was about 10 feet from the goal. All runners seek, where a few seconds he stood practically still, peering into the cluster of disputants before him, looking for an opening to slide through. He found one and skated across the plate for the winning run under the noses of almost the entire New York Highlanders team. And how did Ty Cobb do that easy theft of third and home? Nobody called time. Nobody called time in that game. And Cobb, very, very smart baseball player, could have chosen to just sit out there at the Keystone Sack and wait for something to happen. And just kind of, I loved how and that's the newspaper account, so a little bit more florid pose, but I like how he sort of trotted amiably to third. And then he's coming down the third base line. Nobody is noticing him. He's standing there between third and home, waits for an opening, and just crosses the plate. That is just one of the coolest stories ever. All right. Third game now. Back to old baseball. And here we go. This should be the King Kellys and the Hannes Wagners. And indeed it is. So this could be Pud Galvin, Jack Cheeseborough, and we'll set, since Cousin Ken and Clinton are both here, we're going to set the King Kellys to the home team. So let's do this. And we are playing at Exposition Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Steve Tate says I have, we'll let the organ get done playing here, and then we'll read what Steve has to say. All right, here we go. It's a triple header, and they used to have them in the dead ball era, so why the hell not? Even though we put a modern game in the middle. Steve Tate says I have an idea for head-to-head game tonight or tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow. Probably going to go get drunk tonight. But anyhow, Steve Tate says, let's pick a decade for the Pirates, and he'll pick one for the Tigers, and we can play a game with that decade's franchise team. So it would give me a chance to test the decade franchise files. I'm all for it. I am definitely all for it. So, Steve, before we get into this ball game here, I want to make sure I heard you correctly, because if you did, this is going to be the coolest thing ever. So are you saying that in the new version of the Baseball History Collection, which you have in your hot, slimy little hands there, sweaty hands, and doing all the fun stuff you are with it there, that not only are there the decade teams like I'm playing here now, but there's a decade team for each franchise also? Seriously? Because the only other game that I know that does something similar to that is Diamond Mine Baseball, where it breaks, like, say, the Red Sox into 5 different iterations, or the Pirates into 5 or 6, Yankees, whatever. If it has something like that, I'll never leave my computer ever again. I can't wait. Okay, so welcome to opening day at Exposition Park for the game between the King Kellys and the Hannes Wagners. Pud Galvin will take the mound for the King Kellys, and he'll be opposed by Jack Cheesebro for the Hannes Wagner. 61 degrees here at the confluence of the Three Rivers. Wind speed 21 miles per hour left to right, and we have a light rain falling here in Pittsburgh.
Play ball.
Steve Tate says Beatles hops in his flux capacitor fuel DeLorean to end up in another ballpark in time to call a ball game. And if I could jump ahead to next Wednesday, Mick, just to grab that baseball history collection, buddy, I would be doing it. All right. Whoa, boy, this is a good old postcard image of Exposition Park. As to my knowledge, there are no photos extant of Exposition as far as, right? But look at the cool advertising out there, right? Look at the old car, and look at this. Look at this Marlin Rifles. Look at that signage in left field. Pardon my being weird here for a few minutes. But look, they're selling rifles, and look at the left field, down the left field line, they're selling handguns. Oh my God, there's the Bull Durham sign, of course, out in center field. And this is, I'm not sure where I got this, but my understanding is this is Exposition Park, but I don't remember the date. I want to say that I think the photo source for this was 1901 or 1902. So fun, and I do not I do not want it to sharpen this image up. I like that it's grainy. All right, let's look at the starting defense here for the Wagners, and Hannes Wagner not in the starting lineup, but that's okay. All right, so George Stone in left field, and obviously it's the wrong George Stone picture. Roy Thomas in center, Buck Freeman in right. From first to third, Dan McGann. Okay, Dan, thank you. Jimmy Williams, Bobby Wallace, Bill Bradley. Catching is Johnny Kling, and on the mound, Jack Cheesebro. Cheesebro with a 244 average, 21 wins, 12 losses. 287 and 1/3 innings pitched, 56 walks, 137 strikeouts. Leading it off, Slidin' Billy Hamilton, late of Philadelphia, acquired by the King Kellys. Hamilton, a 377 average, 4 home runs, 64 runs batted in, probably most important, 91 steals. Clinton says that I would never leave my PC. He says Pennsylvania women will be grateful. Okay, no problem, because I have the classic decades anyhow. But yeah, I would, no, I sent I misnomer. So usually what happens, because in the McGreevy League, Mick, we call the home team usually the visitor. What I did is I set this, that the 1800 team could be managed by, Ken and Clinton if they wanted to have some fun with it. All right, infield at the corners looking for Sliding Billy to bunt. Cheesebro has finished his warm-up pitches, and we're ready to get underway. The Hannes Wagners and King Kellys opening day here in Pittsburgh. The pitch, Hamilton sends this one to second base. Jimmy Williams on to Dan McGann, and they do just get Sliding Billy Hamilton. Oh no, Mick, I probably did say home, not meaning that. All right. Here is Willie Keeler. Hit him where they ain't. 374 average, 2 dingers, 69 runs batted in for Keeler. Cheesebro peers in, has the sign from catcher Johnny Kling, late of the Chicago Cubs. Cheesebro delivers the 3-1, and Keeler lays off and draws the walk. First walk issued by Cheesebro, and Keeler with wheels, 43 steals last season. And here is Jesse Burkett, one of the greats from St. Louis. Steve Tate. Tell me which decade I would like my Pirates, and I can ensure you to have pictures ready to go for tomorrow. Oh, man, this is tough. This is so tough for the Bucks. I would definitely think about it. Let me think about it, and I'll have an answer for you, hopefully by the 4th inning of this broadcast. I really, really, really got to think about this. Oh, man. I should give myself a challenge and do the 1920s or 1960s Pirates. Oh, if you're doing classic decades, that's just from 60s forward, so that makes this easier. So since you're using the classic decades, um, I'll do the 19. You know what? I don't want. Wait a minute. Okay, quick time out here, guys. I'm going to check Baseball Reference. I want to give myself an extra challenge against Darth Tate here. I mean, Steve Tate. Um, so let me see. I want to pick a Pirates team from my weakest decade, the 1960s, which they were rebuilding, and I think it's probably the 1960. Let me see here. Yep. So, Steve, I will take the 1966 Pirates. Pretty good team that year. They were 92 and 70. They finished third. So I am not taking a first place Pirates team, and I am going out of the comfort zone, not doing. Nope. I'm not taking 1970s Buccos. I know they're better, but I'm doing 19. Did I say 1966? I want to do those 1966 Bucks. So there you go, Steve. Well, Clinton, the reason being is I have to get better with 1960s baseball. Yep, Jesse the Crab Burkett, Hall of Famer. 374 average for the Crabs, 6 home runs, 76 runs batted in, 32 steals. Keeler at first. When do you guys want to steal with Keeler or whatever? You want to make it interesting? Just flash the old some emoji. Doesn't have to be the hand O despair as Steve Tate calls it. But for now, I'm going to let the computer call it all. Cheesebro deals to Burkett. Here is the 1-1, and Keeler was off with the pitch. This one fouled on the right-hand side. Steve says, fun seeing the usual folks here, but also excited to see some new folks joining in on this madness of a hobby. Isn't that the case? So happy to see Bernard. We have Nathaniel that's going to be picking up Action PC. When he says next month, that means a week, I guess. 19. So, Steve, so I already decided. Now, Steve, so, okay, I got to stop again. Are you saying I can do a decade team for the Pirates from any decade? Because I thought the classic decades only went back to the 1960s. Let us look here because I know I'm a madman. DKSports.com. It's my favorite place to be in the universe. Don't tell the female particle that, please. It feels like real baseball. It smells like real baseball. All right. Right, not all decades are available. That's why I said let me do, because you're like 1900s and 1970s. So you're teasing me, man. All right. So, ooh. There was F-ball that briefly flashed on my broadcast. Pretend you didn't see that. All right. There, classic decades. So they only do 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. So, or 50s, 60s. So I want to play outside my comfort zone. So, okay, yep, the 1960 to 69 Bucks because I got to get better with 1960s baseball. Clinton laughs at me anyhow, but I think he laughs doubly hard when I try to do 1960s baseball because I don't know what the hell's going on. Oh, geez, MV. So, so one of the differences between the previous edition is he's bringing back this set that I'm using. Again, I've customized it and everything with the logos and all that kind of stuff. But these decade subsets are coming back in the Baseball History Collection, which is really cool. And some other stuff. I picked it up. I mean, I have to. It's a sin if you own Action PC and you don't buy it every year. So, all right. Back to the game. I'll take the 1960 to 69 Bucks. Chisbro deals. Burkett swings. Chopper to Bobby Wallace. Wallace's only play will be to Dan McGann. And close play. Do they get Burkett? They get him by a gnat's eyelash. 2 out. And Keeler. Yeah. So classic decades. Yeah. And I have that set too. So we're all good. So yeah, I will take the 1960s Pirates. Because at least I know some players in there. Don Clendenin was on there, and Roberto Clemente had one of the Alous. Was it Matty? I believe, Matty Alou with those Bucks in the 1960s. Of course, Maz is on there. All right, Mr. Stargell. So I'll have some familiarity with that Pirate team. If you do a 60s Tigers team, I'm going to have no, well, no, I will. I'll at least recognize the guys from 1968 Tigers. All right, 2 down, and here is Cupid Childs. Cupid Childs, 315 last season. 3 home runs, 75 runs batted in. Chesbro deals. Here's the 1-0. Childs laces this one into left. Buck Freeman up with it in right field. Keeler rounds third, and he will score the King Kelly's first run. And here is one of Cousin Ken's favorite players. Clint Park says, don't worry, Steve, if it's broadcast, I got Beatles back. Absolutely, man. Oh, my God. Please, please, please. I will be grateful. All right, so Cupid Childs is on first, and MV, so good to see you, mate. Slancha Tara, as Bad Bill Dolan, one of Cousin Ken's favorite characters from the time, is up now. Bad Bill Dolan. And he was bad, man. Bad agent he was. 318 average, 9 home runs, 75 ribbies, 37 steals. Cupid Childs at first. We saw Cupid Childs do some good things in our Ned McGreevy 1.0 league. 29 steals for Cupid Childs last season. Kling sets the target. Jack Chesbro throws over. Cupid Childs dives back under the tag of Dan McGann. Chesbro ready to deal now. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Dolan swings, fly ball, right field, and Buck Freeman settles under it and makes the catch. 1 run, 1 hit. No errors for the King Kellys. After 1/2 inning, it's the King Kellys 1, and the Hannes Wagners coming to bat. So let's look at the starting defense now for the Michael King Kellys. And neither King and King Kelly not in the lineup tonight, and neither is Hannes Wagner. So opening day, I've got to play with these lineups. Anyhow, in left field, Jesse the Crab Burkett. In center, sliding Billy Hamilton. In right, Wee Willie Keeler. From first to third, around the horn, Roger Connor at first base, baseball's first home run king. Cupid Childs at second. At short, Bad Bill Dolan. At the hot corner, George Pinckney, who also did well, as I recall, in the Ned McGreevy 1-0 league. Duke Farrell catching, and twirling today, Pud Galvin. So Roy Thomas, center fielder, leads it off for the Hannes Wagners here. Thomas, a .286 hitter last year with a home run, 29 runs batted in, 27 steals. Galvin with the 1-1 delivery to Thomas. Curveball. This one chopped foul on the right-hand side. Count 1-2 now on Thomas. Galvin with the delivery. Thomas, swing and a miss, steer right 3. So Pud Galvin rings him up, and here comes first baseman Dan McGann. McGann, a .288 hitter last year, 3 home runs, 67 ribbies. Hope to see some good inside baseball. MV saying that George Pinckney, a former Manchester Red Bull. Dick Grote with those early Pittsburgh Pirates. Absolutely. So yeah, Clinton, if we do this tomorrow and you're on, I'm going to need your help with 1960s baseball, man. I don't know why I skipped over that decade. I really have no clue. All right. Dan McGann waits the 1-2 delivery, and this one, McGann gets a piece of it, but Farrell holds on. Second strikeout for Pud Galvin. And here's right fielder Buck Freeman. We've not seen Buck Freeman in our Ned McGreevy League. Hopefully we will in the next one, but we have to get a team that Buck Freeman's on. Freeman hitting .308 with 11 home runs, 94 runs batted in for him. Bases empty. Galvin cruising here as the 1-2 pitch to Freeman. Fastball, and that one, a swing and a miss. Pud Galvin bringing it. 3 strikeouts in the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. We played 1 at Exposition Park in Pittsburgh without the H, Pennsylvania. And it's 1-0. Roger Connor will lead it off here for the King Kellys, followed by Duke Farrell and George Pinckney. McF says the decades discussion has me confused. I thought this came up talking about the 2023 baseball history collection, but Beatles references separate. Okay, so no, let me clear up your. I'll clear this up for you, Nick. Clear it up for you, my friend. I'm already confusing enough, pal. So we're going to go back to the DK Sports, and we're going to go to the shop, and I'm going to drag this happy website back over here that I love. Look at this, 20% off purchase over $100. Ah. All right, so the baseball history collection, which again, Steve has the beta of the new one, and it's bringing back something that I never understood why Dave got rid of here. Let me look at is it special collections? Is that it? There it is. Okay, so subsets, this is last year. So included in the one that'll be last year and this year, debut year subsets. So you want to create a league in the year a player was debuted, bam, you got it. So this is different than the league I'm playing right now. How about their country of birth? So 12 countries last year, and then you have these other subsets. Now, the classic decades, that's different. That's not what I'm playing here. What I'm playing here is an older subset of the baseball history collection, which took the best players from each decade in baseball and put them on, I don't know if it's a 30-man roster or something, however many rosters it is. But it's these classic decades. This is a separate product, and you're going to get confused a little more, but hang in with me, Mick. So what this is, look at Baseball Classic 1950. So relive your favorite decade. Classic Decade Series features 32-man rosters for each team comprised of the players who spent the most time with each franchise over that decade. Each player in the series is represented by one of his best seasons with that team. All of your favorites in one special collection. This includes lineups, depth charts, pitching rotations, bullpens, managers, and a schedule ready to play out of the box. So this one is this is really, really cool. I love this. I love the classic decades. I'm hoping that Dave will go back and do the 40s, 30s, 20s, 10s, aughts, and 19th century. I think that would be fun. But another one that's really cool to play, and there's 3 different products, so this gets crazy. So now the next one here this is called a best of. So this best of is different than classic decades. So this includes 4 divisions of 6 teams each and a 154-game schedule. Teams may also be imported into your own custom leagues. And here you see we have a bunch of Brooklyn teams and what have you. These are good. I wouldn't recommend these baseball best of decades as the first buy or an early buy, but certainly I think something worthy of having. But what I like is the franchise best collection, which I'm going to have to just use all my seasons to do my own 2010s. These are fun. I love these. So baseball's best franchise collection. What do these comprise of? The best season of the decade for each franchise includes divisions and a schedule. So here we see, look, as expected, the 1916 Brooklyn Dodgers, their first World Series. 1915 Philadelphia Phillies, their first series. The Pittsburgh Pirates of 1912. Why he picked? Because we're in the 19-teens now. 1912 Bucks. So here you go. Look, the Red Sox of 1912. Mix and match. Do what you want. And these are great. So hopefully that helps. And I'm gonna leave this minimized just in case. Hopefully that helps. Confusing for Steve as well. Well, hopefully that kind of helped you out. It's a lot of different projects that Dave has. So you may take the classic decade approach and import that peak version of a player versus their best year. Options. So many ways, gentlemen, that you can play action PC baseball. It just absolutely makes the cerebrum go kaboom, eh? All right, back to game action here, and Roger Connor. Cheesebro deals. Here's the 0-1 to Connor. Connor, chopper to short. Wallace up with it, over to McGann. If you guys would like, it's up to you. If you won't get terribly bored with it, afterwards I can show you, like, graphically on the screen, the difference between those products that I just mentioned. So let me know if that helps clear things up. I'll be happy to show them. All right. Duke Farrell now. 271 hitter last season, 4 home runs, 70 runs batted in. Jack Cheesebro sets and delivers the 3-1. Fastball missing, high and away. And Duke Farrell aboard, 11 steals last season. And here is former Manchester Red Bull George Pinckney. 259 hitter, 9 home runs, 62 runs batted in for him. Farrell leads off first, 1 down, 1-0 your score here. Cheesebro delivers to Pinckney, the 2-0 deliver, and there goes Farrell. So some aggressive baseball, as you would expect in these two eras, dead ball in 19th century. Farrell was off with that pitch. 2-1. Cheesebro works to Pinckney. Pinckney, base hit, right field. Buck Freeman up with it. Farrell rounding second as Freeman comes up throwing. Here's the throw to third. The tag by Bill Bradley. Farrell in there safe, and on the play, George Pinckney moves to second. I think it's a nice contrast, this our game 3 as opposed to that game 2 with modern baseball, right? You weren't seeing runners off with the pitch with a 1-out count, or maybe no outs in the count, like 2 balls, no strikes. So definitely a faster game. Infield in at the corners now. Bradley at first, Bradley at third, McGann at first. For Pud Galvin. Pud Galvin pitching a whale of a game today so far. Early innings, of course. Infield looking bunt. Cheesebro with a 1-2 delivery. And Pud Galvin looks at a called strike 3. This one just below the belt. First strikeout for Cheesebro, and we swing back at the top of the order, and the great sliding Billy Hamilton. Hamilton nothing for 1. He grounded to second. 2 in scoring position. Cheesebro deals the 1-1 to Hamilton. Hamilton swings chopping ground ball to first. Dan McGann waves off Cheesebro to take it for out number 3. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 2 left. Bottom of the second at Exposition Park. The King Kellys 1, the Hannes Wagners nothing. George Stone leads it off here. Stoney, 307 average, 11 triples, 3 homers, 51 runs batted in. Sorry, eyes are a little foggy today. Pud Galvin has whiffed 3, and that was in the first inning. Galvin deals to Stone, the 2-0 pitch, fastball, chopping ground ball to Bill Dolan, who sets and fires on to Roger Connor at first for out number 1. Here's shortstop Bobby Wallace. Hannes Wagner allowing Wallace into the starting lineup tonight. Hall of Famer, had 297 last season, 14 triples, 3 home runs, 84 runs batted in. Bobby Wallace, one of the sort of kind of controversial Hall of Fame elections, but on YouTube there's a really great documentary that provides just, I think, very, very compelling defense of Bobby Wallace being in the Hall of Fame. Wallace does predate Wagner, who really sets the paradigm, if you will, for the modern shortstop, but Bobby Wallace was an excellent player and deserving of the Hall of Fame. And here he is. All right, Bobby, make me look good and do something here. Pud Galvin deals to him the 2-0, and Wallace chopper to short. Dolan up with it onto Roger Connor for the 6-3 putout. 2 up, 2 down. Pud Galvin is absolutely cruising here as he faces Jimmy Williams. Jimmy Williams, late of the St. Louis Browns. Jimmy hitting 282 last season, 5 home runs, 81 runs batted in. Galvin deals the 0-1. Spitball, chopper to Bill Dolan, busy out there. Easy play onto Roger Connor. And once again, Pud Galvin does the 1-2-3. We go to the top of the third. The King Kellys 1, the Hannes Wagners nothing. And Cheesebro will face Wee Willie Keeler, Jesse Burkett, and Cupid Childs here in the top of the third inning. Infield in at the corners, looking bunt from Keeler. Keeler walked in the first. Chesbro into his wind and the 1-1 pitch. Keeler swings, chopper to short. Wallace, nice graceful play on to Dan McGann to retire Wee Willie Keeler. Sharp-eyed among you looking at the screen will notice that McGann and Bradley playing in at first and third, and here's something else where I have to give an edge to Action PC Baseball. I didn't set up these managers, but it is emulating the style of play chronicled back in the day. So normally in modern baseball, you're not going to see players playing for a bunt, but the early game was about just slap hitting. You had a few sluggers like Sam Crawford, Nap Lajoie, what have you, but it was really about place hitting and a lot of bunts and sacrifices, steals and spikings and brawls. Love it. Here's the delivery, the 0-2 to Jesse Burkett, and Burkett swinging away, smacks this one all the way to the wall, and Burkett's going for three. Freeman's throw will miss the cutoff man Wallace, the tag, and Jesse Burkett gets the triple. So Burkett trips him up. Ty Cobb, one of the reasons he had that split grip, he would be able to either punch the ball when he was choking up or would slide that left hand down and swing away from the heels. So Burkett, knowing they were playing him in, smacks a triple. So big doings here in the third for the King Kellys, looking to add to their 1-0 lead. It brings up Cupid Childs. RBI single scoring Wee Willie Keeler back in the first. Kling sets the target for Jack Cheesebro, who lets it go. The 1-0 delivery. And this one gets by Johnny Kling, and running in quickly to score is Jesse Burkett. It is now 2-0 in favor of this 19th century clue. Infield looking bunt from Cupid Childs, one away. Chisbro with the 2-0 delivery. Childs turns in his fastball, base hit to right between Jimmy Williams and Dan McGann into right field. Cupid Childs aboard, and here comes Bad Bill Dahlin. Dahlin flied to deep right center back in the first. Childs into his lead at first. Chesbro with a check of the runner. The 1-1 pitch to Dahlin. And there goes Cupid Childs, the throw down by Johnny Kling. Cupid Childs picks up first steal of the season here on opening day in Pittsburgh. Dahlin back in the box now. Chesbro sets and fires the 2-1 pitch. Fastball. Dahlin chopper down the third base line. Bill Bradley up with it and on to Dan McGann for out number 2. Childs will remain at second. Roger Connor, who held the career home run record until Babe Ruth came along, steps in, grounded to short. Chisbro delivers to Roger Connor, the 1-1. Connor golfs this one right to Jimmy Williams, who underhand tosses onto Dan McGann to retire the side. But a run in for the King Kellys on 2 hits. There were no errors. Bottom of the third, the King Kellys 2, the Hannes Wagners nothing. Bill Bradley will lead it off here, followed by George Pinckney Bill Bradley will lead it off, followed by Johnny Kling and Jack Cheesebro. Whew. All right, Bill Bradley in the contest, making his first plate appearance. Bradley last year hit it at a 281 clip with 4 home runs, 58 runs batted in. Galvin into the wind and the 2-2 pitch, fastball, and Pud Galvin rings up his 4th. So Bradley chasing that one out of the zone, that fastball, and Galvin, again, just cruise control for him. Johnny Kling now, 260 hitter. Kling along of the Chicago Cubs. Home run, 46 runs batted in for Johnny Kling. Galvin's delivery, the 1-2, spitball, and this one splits the middle for a base hit. Billy Hamilton gets that ball back in. And Johnny Kling aboard. Kling with 11 steals last season. And here's pitcher Jack Chisbro. He is a 202 hitter, so he's no Hoss Radbourne at the plate, but not bad. Home run, 9 runs batted in. Kling into his lead off first, 1 away. Galvin delivers to him. Chesbro swinging, bunts this curve on the first pitch. The only play will be to first. Chesbro's retired. Sacrifice successful. Johnny Kling now in scoring position. So the Hannes Wagners threatening here in the bottom of the third as we swing back to the top of the lineup in center fielder Roy Thomas, who's 0 for 1, struck out against Pud Galvin back in the first. Galvin, with a check of Kling over his right shoulder, peers in, has the sign from Duke Farrell, and the 0-2 delivery, and that is strikeout number 5. Thomas is whiffed, and we go to the top of the fourth inning, and it's the King Kellys 2, the Hannes Wagners nothing. Jack Chisbro will face Duke Farrell, George Pinckney, and Pud Galvin here at Exposition Park in this Game 3 of a unplanned tripleheader. Chisbro deals to Farrell now, the 1-1. Farrell sends this fastball, little number on the third base line. Bill Bradley off the bag, and on to Dan McGann, out number 1. Joe Murdy says, hey, was wondering about something real quick here. Every time you do an exhibition game, you get April 1st. Yeah, click on the calendar to play in another day. Yep, that's all you got to do, Joe. And you can advance the month. Absolutely. You can have it day 8 game, night game, what have you. Just click on the calendar, my friend. So good looking out there. All right. George Pinckney is 1 for 1. RBI, or not an RBI, I'm sorry. Grounded a single back in the second. Chisbro delivers. Pinckney takes ball 4. So Chisbro curve missing. This one just a bit wide. 1 away. That's the third walk issued by Jack Chisbro, who in fact pitched for these Pittsburgh Pirates. But then would go on to the New York Highlanders. But Galvin, nothing for 1. He struck out. And they're looking bunt here with 1 down. Chisbro with the delivery. And Galvin offers it the ball, but holds back up, and George Pinckney in there with a steal. So runner in scoring position here in the 4th for the King Kellys, looking for more, ahead 2-0. Chisbro brings it now. The 1-0 pitch, and Galvin just a little, Bobby Wallace, nice diving stop up from his knees, throws on him again to retire Pud Galvin, out number 2. George Pinckney unable to advance to third on the play. Back at the top of the order now, and Billy Hamilton was grounded out twice. The King Kellys would love to get Hamilton aboard with his blazing speed. Chisbro throws back, spins and throws, and Pinckney is safe. Jimmy Williams almost had George Pinckney off second. Let's look at that again. Close play at second. All right, Hamilton in the box now. And here's the 1-2 pitch. Fastball, Hamilton. Little chopping ground ball to Bobby Wallace. Going to be close at first, but they get Hamilton on the bang-bang play. No runs, no hits, no errors. A runner left. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. The King Kellys leading the Hannes Wagners 2-0. Oh, you're most welcome, Joe. You're most welcome. Dan McGann here, 0 for 1, struck out back in the 1st. McGann followed by Buck Freeman. Freeman waiting on deck. Galvin delivers to McGann, the 1-2. Weak chopper to short. Pinckney up with a quick throw. Will they get McGann by a gnat's eyelash? They will. So good heads-up play at the hot corner there by Pinckney, charging in on that. And that brings up Buck Freeman, who's nothing for 1. He struck out last time up. George Stone, and I got to remember to fix that picture of George Stone. Wrong George Stone. Freeman, nothing for 1, struck out. One thing Dave Cook needs to add to this game is a way to at least change player photo assignment in game. That doesn't make any sense to me why you can't do it. You can't do it in out-of-the-park baseball either, and I wish you could. I'm not changing anything up except a picture, so maybe Dave would consider that for Action PC 2024. Unless Steve knows of some esoteric way I'm missing, I don't think you can do that during game. Galvin delivers to Freeman. Here's the 1-2. Chopper up the first base line. Roger Connor will take it to the bag himself for out number 2. Pud Galvin in cruise control, pitching a 1-hitter thus far. George Stone grounded to short. Here's the pitch. The paid off, and it's another strikeout. That is number 6 by Pud Galvin. We have played 4 here in Pittsburgh, and the score remains the King Kellys of the 1800s, 2, and the Hannes Wagners, first decade of the 20th century, nothing. Wee Willie Keeler will lead it off here for the Wagners, followed by Jimmy Williams and Bill Bradley. Keeler has walked and grounded to short. The line on Cheesebro thus far, just a strikeout, 3 walks through 4 innings pitched, 2 earned runs given up, 4 hits. Cheesebro into the wind, and first pitch, and Baltimore chop by Wee Willie Keeler, and it's going to be a bad throw. This one gets by Williams, and as Williams is chasing it down, Wee Willie Keeler makes it to second. So, score an error on that play, and that brings the tying run to the plate now. Or I'm sorry, no, it does not bring the tying run to the plate. Ugh. So potential third run in scoring position for the King Kellys. Again, forgive me, this is just my first few games into this set. Jesse Burkett is 1 for 2. Tripled his last time up. Nobody out. Jack Cheesebro, the 0-1 pitch. Burkett gets the bunt down, cling up with it on to Jimmy Williams. Moving to third on the play is Wee Willie Keeler. Potential third run just 90 feet away now for the King Kellys. As Cupid Childs, 2 for 2 today at the dish. RBI single scoring Wee Willie Keeler back in the first, and then a single back in the third. Cheesebro throws over to third. Do they catch Keeler napping? They do! Keeler is caught off third. A rare lapse for Wee Willie Keeler for the second out. So now the base is empty. Great play by Jack Cheesebro and Bill Bradley to catch Wee Willie Keeler off the bag. Childs back in the box now. Here's the pitch. Childs swinging in the first pitch. This one deflects off Cheesebro to Jimmy Williams, who fires it on to McGann for the third out of the inning. That was crazy. All right, let's go to the bottom of the fifth. It is still 2-0. Bobby Wallace will lead it off here, followed by Jimmy Williams and Bill Bradley. Good God. Yep, you have to select it before starting a game. There's got to be a way, right? Because you can go into a roster screen. Well, you can't go into a roster screen. You can go into a roster screen here, right? But yeah, you're right. Players is grayed out. I just really wish, right? You can't modify anything. Dave, fix this. And Marcus Heinsohn, fix it, by the way. Please. There's nothing more distracting than seeing a late 20th century or a mid to late 20th century player playing back in anywhere from 1880 to 1909. It's just weird. Beware the Baltimore chop. Well, yeah, so that came from those 1894, 1890s Orioles, Joe. Absolutely. McGraw and Keeler. So some sources credit Wee Willie Keeler with that innovation, if you will, Joe, and others credit it to Keeler. So either way, you're right, because the whole team did it until other clubs figured it out and started dousing the area around the home plate box. But that Baltimore chop, brilliant. I would love to see a modern player attempt a Baltimore chop, especially, let's say, his team is ahead, 9 runs. Try a Baltimore chop, see if you can chop down on that ball. All right, Bobby Wallace, nothing for 1, grounded to short. But yeah, what a potent weapon it was, right, Joe? Galvin delivers now to Wallace. Here's the 2-0. Base hit left field. Jesse Burkett up with it. Bobby Wallace makes the turn at first. He'll hold. So for the Wagners, that's only the second hit in the ball game. Bobby Wallace with some speed, 16 steals. Team captain Hannes Wagner watching from the dugout. We will see Wagner before the end of this game, I guarantee. As Jimmy Williams steps in. Jimmy grounded to short, so Galvin looking double play here. 1 moment, please. So Galvin looking to induce the double play ball by Jimmy Williams. Last year, Williams grounded into 9 double plays. Good crowd here at Exposition Park here on opening day. Harry Stevens walking through the crowd, regaling them with Shakespeare sonnets and pieces of apple pie. Galvin deals to Jimmy Williams, and Williams cuts and misses strike 3. So Pud Galvin picks up strikeout number 7, absolutely dominant in this game today. One away, and Bill Bradley is going to give it a go. The hot corner man, one of the strikeout victims of Pud Galvin, and that was back in the 3rd. Ken Castro giving us some great trivia here that Bad Bill Dolan was ejected 65 times as a player and a manager. Trying to think, was it, there was a, Dolan got into some real serious dust up in a game, and I'm trying to remember who the other player was, Ken. Read about that in a 19th century book about Dolan, and I'm trying to remember who that was. All right, anyhow. Bill Bradley, as I said, struck out against Galvin, who has fanned 7. Galvin has yet to walk a batter. Check of Wallace at first, who has some speed. The 1-1 pitch to Bill Bradley. Fastball, Wallace was off the pitch, and Dolan up with it. His only play will be to Connor, so Bradley, with the unintentional sacrifice, will advance Bobby Wallace to second, and it brings up catcher Johnny Kling. So 1 for 1, singled his last time up. Galvin with the 0-2 pitch. Kling swings, and that is strikeout number 8 for Pud Galvin. The Wagners just unable to solve Pud Galvin. We go to the top of the 6th inning. Still 2-0. Pud Galvin pitching a beautiful 2-hitter thus far. Speaking of Bad Bill Dolan, he'll lead it off here, followed by Roger Connor and then Duke Farrell. So the shortstop, hot-headed shortstop, Bad Bill, mad. It was a lot like, what was it about Lord Byron? Something mad, bad, and bad to know, or something. I'm trying to remember right now. Certainly, probably not the ladies' man that Lord Byron was. Infield looking bunt from Bad Bill. Chesbro into his motion in the 0-2. Fastball. And Dolan sends this to center field. Roy Thomas ranging back on it toward the Bull Durham sign in center will make the catch for out number 1. Now stepping in, first baseman Roger Connor. He is grounded to short and to second. And Chesbro would like him to ground either third or first. Why not? Chesbro lets it go. The 1-0 delivery fastball, but this one base hit up the middle. Bobby Wallace gets the throw in from center field. Roy Thomas. Connor aboard. So Connor, in addition to considerable power, 24 steals last season. And here is Duke Farrell. Chesbro, Kling out to have a quick word with Jack Chesbro. Here's the pitch to Farrell, the 1-1. Changeup, Farrell bounces this one to first. McGann is going to go to Wallace, but the hard slide by Roger Connor upends Bobby Wallace to break up a potential double play. So Duke Farrell and it's funny to call it a fielder's choice, and the fielders had no choice, getting upended and right on his arse. And here is George Pinckney now. Pinckney singled back in the 2nd, walked in the 4th. Farrell leads off first, 2 down. Chesbro throws over. Farrell back safely. What a play. How about it, getting Wee Willie Keeler off 3rd. Chesbro brings it home to Pinckney, the 1-0. And base hit as Farrell was off with the pitch. So Stone has it in left field. Farrell gets into 3rd. The slide, the tag by Bill Bradley at 3rd. And Farrell is safe. Runners at the corners now for the King Kellys. And here's Pud Galvin, who's nothing for 2. Chesbro brings it now. The 1-2 to Pud Galvin. Fastball, and Galvin misses that one. So big cheer going up here at Exposition Park as we go to the bottom of the 6th. The King Kellys leading the Hannes Wagners 2-0. Jack Chesbro, Roy Thomas, and Dan McGann due up for the Hannes Wagner squad. Ken Castro, talking about Bad Bill Dolan, says he was often ejected on purpose as he could get to the afternoon's racing card. Another guy that did that was John McGraw. Two umpires caught on to what McGraw was doing. But I'm wondering how that was probably fairly common in the day, Ken. You know, these guys would want to get out to the track, so get thrown out of the game, and you could make it to Aqueduct or wherever you were going, right? Funny stuff. What a great time in baseball. Never to return. Baseball's become so serious. Yeah, I've got so-and-so running in the fourth at, at Belmont, so I'm going to get tossed. I love it. I have a flutter in the third at Belmont. Chesbro will lead it off here now. Jack sacrificed back in the third. Galvin delivers the 1-1. Change up. This one will come back to the mound. Cut Galvin quickly up with it and over to Roger Connor. 1 up, 1 down. And Cousin Ken saying he thinks it was pretty common. Yeah, I wouldn't think it would just be Dolan and McGraw doing something like that. Funny stuff. Great stuff. Roy Thomas has struck out twice against Pud Galvin. So of his 8 strikeouts, Roy Thomas has done it twice. Looking for the trifecta. Here's the 0-2, and Thomas this time says, nope, I'm hitting it. Base hit into right field. Wee Willie Keeler coming up with the horse hide and tossing it back into Cupid Childs. Dan McGann now has struck out, grounded to third. I'm interested to look at these rosters just really, really quickly. I want to see what players made it in, what players didn't. Yeah, there's King Kelly. He made it in. There's John Clarkson. So for this 19th century, this King Kelly's team, look who's not in the lineup. Dan Bruthers not in the lineup. Hugh Duffy not here. In fact, Hugh Duffy wasn't even in McGreevy 1. Tommy McCarthy, pretty fine player. Ed Delahanty not in there. Just crazy. The players not, and you can see this is, of course, a big roster for obvious reasons. 20 years of 19th century players. There's Big Jim McCormick. Yeah, good stuff. And a pretty fine pitching staff, too. And actually, we could also say the same about the Hannes Wagners, who's not on here as well. So, going to be a lot of firepower in these leagues this league going forward. Dan McGann waits for the delivery from Pud Galvin, swinging on the first pitch, grounded to George Pinckney. Pinckney will go to first, and they do just get Dan McGann. Really close call there. So 2 away, Roy Thomas in scoring position, and Buck Freeman going to have a go here as the Wagners just trying to get on the board. Pud Galvin sets in the 0-1 delivery to Freeman. Fastball. This one fouled on the right-hand side, and it will be caught by Cupid Childs. To end the inning, we go to the top of the 7th. Still 2-0 in favor of the King Kellys. Sliding Billy Hamilton will lead it off here. Hamilton 0 for 3. Chesbro kicks and fires the 1-1. Sliding Billy, base hit into left. And I'm going to pause it here and see what Cousin Ken would like to do. As Ken Castro says that Hugh Duffy's 440 season card is in the franchise set. Awesome. Hugh Duffy, great player. Great player. Yeah, horse racing was huge. So what do you say here, Cousin Ken? You got Sliding Billy on, and you got Wee Willie Keeler at the plate. Infield looking bunt. Bill Bradley cheating in at third. You're gonna send Sliding Billy, and he's sending it, saying it in caps. All right, here we go. Kling sets the target. Chesbro checking the speedy Sliding Billy Hamilton at first. Here is the delivery. There goes Hamilton. Throw down by Kling, and Sliding Billy picks up the stolen base. So potential third run for the King Kellys now in scoring position. Wee Willie back in the box. Will Ken Castro, does he want to try something risky and go for third? Could there be a hit and run, a run and hit? Johnny Kling with a pretty good strong arm back there, but Hamilton with blazing speed. We're going to hang on and see what Cousin Ken would like to do here with Mr. Hamilton at second and Mr. Keeler at the dish. And you're talking about a run and hit. How about it with a 2-run lead? All right, a run and hit. A little gutsier play than a hit and run. Chesbro with a check at Hamilton at second. And from the high set, and they're going to intentionally walk Wee Willie Keeler to get to Jesse Burkett. So now we have crazy speed on the base paths. Billy Hamilton, sliding Billy Hamilton at second, just so anybody listening later doesn't think I'm talking about the modern Billy Hamilton. And Wee Willie Keeler at first. So Keeler with 43 steals last season. Hamilton with 91, and here's Jesse Burkett, and if he gets on, he's got 32. Speed all the way around. Jesse is 1 for 2. And now Cousin Ken calling a hit and run. Why not? Okay, hit and run, let's do it. Chesbro sets and fires to Jesse Burkett, and the runners were off. Fly ball to right, and this one lands foul. Count 0-1. I'm going to assume we're going to go hit and run again on this. Let's have some fun. Chesbro delivers to Burkett. The 0-1, and this one bounding ball to Bobby Wallace, and his only play will be to first, and Burkett is out, but the runners advance. 2 in scoring position, and Cupid Childs 2 for 3. Sliding Billy at third, Wee Willie at second. Cupid Childs 2 for 3. RBI, scoring Wee Willie back in the first, and a single in the second. He grounded, grounded a single back in the third, and grounded a second in the fifth. Chesbro from the stretch, and the 0-1. They intentionally walk Cupid Childs to get to Bad Bill Dahlin. The Wagners know they're in trouble here. And Roger Connor waits on deck. Sliding Billy Hamilton at third, Wee Willie Keeler at second, Cupid Childs on at first. Ken Castro saying, wow, so I just assumed you wanted that second hit and run, and it worked. So some aggressive baseball here. You know, tactics of the day would call for a bunt in this situation, but bases loaded, I don't know. I think we let Bad Bill swing away here. 1 out. Here we go. Chesbro from the stretch, and the 0-2, and it didn't matter. Bad Bill Dahlin struck out, so 2 away. And here's Roger Connor, and now with 2 outs, this is going to be a swing away situation. Singled his last time up. Bases loaded. As Clinton Park says, hit it anywhere, Bill. Here's a delivery now to Connor, the 2-0. Connor swings, chopper to third, and Bradley will go to Williams to cut down Childs. So the King Kellys leave him loaded. We go to the middle of the 7th. The score still 2-0. And Clinton saying that hit it anywhere, Bill, was quoted from a Fall River paper in 1894. Clinton Parks does, and I mean, he takes the time to do it, does research. And one of the reasons I miss him broadcasting live are the newspaper ads that he would do. So he goes back and actually finds the newspaper on the day that the game was played and gives us some ads, a few little news snippets in there, and the added immersion. And Clinton, I hope someday you'll get back to broadcasting some games. I miss you on here, man. It's been a good 2 or 3 years since you broadcast a game regularly, as I remember. All right, George Stone lead it off. Bobby Wallace is on deck, but I'm going to make an executive decision and bring in Hannes Wagner because this is getting ridiculous now. All right, George Stone 0 for 2. I just want Wagner in the game. Galvin delivers the 0-2. Stone swings, chopper to first, and Roger Connor will take it to the bag unassisted. I know Bobby Wallace is 1 for 2, but. Options, preferences, and I'm going to make this human as well. And Bobby Wallace is going to be pinch hit for by his boss, Hannes Wagner. Although Nap Lajoie has a bit higher hit percent chance against Galvin at 40% versus 37. This way I keep a great shortstop in there. All right. And what do we have? The King Kelly's is human and the Wagner's is computer. There we go. Wagner with a 355 average, 7 home runs, 100 runs batted in, 48 steals for Wagner. Bud Galvin is going to try to flummox Wagner here. The 0-1, and Wagner, base hit, left field. Jesse Burkett up with it, gets it into bad Bill Dahlin. Wagner on at first. Hopefully the computer's going to call for a hit and run or a steal or something. Jimmy Williams, nothing for 2. He's grounded to short and struck out. Galvin with a check of the Flying Dutchman at first. He brings it home, the 1-0. And there goes Wagner, the throw by Farrell, and Hannes Wagner picks up the steal. So runner in scoring position, a chance for the Hannes Wagners to cut this lead in half. 4-hitter being pitched by Galvin thus far in this game. Jimmy Williams back in the box. The 1-1 pitch. Curveball, Williams, chopper to first. Roger Connor will take it to the bag unassisted for out number 2. Wagner moves to third on the play. And here is third baseman Bill Bradley, nothing for 2. Galvin from the stretch and the 1-1. Bradley takes this fastball to the right-hand side. Childs covering on to Galvin to retire the side. So the Wagners waste one. We go to the 8th. It is still 2-0. McGann and Bradley looking for the bunt as from Duke Farrell leading it off here. Farrell has walked and grounded out twice. Chesbro brings it to 2-0. Farrell swings, base hit, right field. Thomas gets it up quickly into Jimmy Williams as Farrell was thinking 2. George Pinckney 2 for 2 now, and a walk, and an RBI. Bill Bradley in at third. Chesbro brings it. And there goes the runner. Farrell slides, and Wagner's tag not in time. Duke Farrell picks up the steal. So the King Kellys doing some aggressive running. Infield now in at the corners. So now McGann coming in, and we'll see Bradley and McGann charging in as Chesbro delivers the 0-1. Nope, they will not. So George Pinckney is intentionally walked by Jack Chesbro, and he will pitch to Pud Galvin. Pretty smart baseball here, looking to get a double play ball. Infield looking in at the corners again. Chesbro deals. Galvin on the first pitch gets the bunt down. The throw to third. They've got Farrell. So good heads-up play to get the lead runner one away. And now a chance to induce a double play. And we go back to the top of the order and slide Billy Hamilton. And I didn't see it. Sack. I'm sorry, I didn't see it, Cousin Ken. And actually, since the bunt was laid down, it didn't work anyhow. So I guess no harm, no foul. All right, Billy Hamilton 1 for 4. 1 down. Don't know if you'd want to sacrifice with Billy Hamilton with 1 away. Let's see what you want to do here with Billy. You want to let him swing away? This is a potential double play situation here if he swings away. Of course, Chesbro could also go to Pinckney on the force at third, so swing away. All right. Here's the pitch from Chesbro. The 2-0. Hamilton swings, grounded to Jimmy Williams, who will go to Hannes Wagner. Back to Dan McGann for the 4-6-3 inning-ending double play. No runs, no hits, no errors. Bottom of the 8th, it is still 2-0. Johnny Kling, Jack Chesbro, and I think we're going to bring in a pinch hitter for Chesbro, or we might let the AI do it. We'll see. Crazy game this one is. You don't need load them up and hit a grand slam to have a fun baseball game. Johnny Kling is 1 for 2. Singled and struck out. Galvin delivers the 3-1. And Pud Galvin misses. and issues his first free pass of the game. Could this be the crack in the armor? Johnny Kling on at first. Yep, doubling up Hamilton can't be easy, but yet, says McF. All right, Chesbro. Let's see if I'm we're leaving Chesbro in there. Nope. Jimmy Barrett will come in to pinch hit, so the AI making its decision finally. Jimmy Barrett's numbers, a 305 hitter last year, 4 home runs, 40 runs batted in, 23 steals. Joe saying, well, Jack knows his team's running out of outs to do anything good. Smart baseball, intentionally walking the number 8 man. Kling into his lead at first, nobody out. Pud Galvin from the set, and the 2-2 to Jimmy Barrett, and that is strikeout number 9. Swing and a miss on the fastball. Pud Galvin showing no signs of letting up. And here is Roy Thomas. And Galvin's been getting him on the fastball, too. Roy Thomas struck out twice, finally singled in the 6th. Kling into his lead at first. Pud Galvin has the sign from Duke Farrell. Here is the 2-0 delivery. Fastball, base hit, left field. Johnny Kling routing second. Jesse Burkett up with the ball, gets it into Bad Bill Dahlin. Kling will hold at second. So Kling at the Keystone sack and Roy Thomas at first. And here is Dan McGann, who is a sad 0 for 3. Grounded out twice and struck out in the contest against Galvin. Galvin's delivery. McGann on the first pitch, base hit, right field. Keeler up with it. Kling rounding third, and they'll hold Johnny Kling. The bases are loaded now for Buck Freeman. And this, Cranks and Cranklets, is the first serious threat mounted by the Hannes Wagners. Bases sold out. Johnny Kling at third, Roy Thomas at second, Dan McGann at first. Buck Freeman on the day is 0 for 3. We're going to let the computer decide to call for a pinch hitter. I just did that because I wanted Hannes Wagner in the game. And Farrell out to talk to Galvin, back behind the dish. The 1-2 delivery to Buck Freeman. Big boo on the crowd. Fastball. Chopper to Childs. Childs will go to Dahlin. They're not going to turn 2, though, as Freeman makes it to first. Johnny Kling comes in to score, and the Hannes Wagners cut the lead in half. The King Kellys now leading 2-1 here in the bottom of the 8th with 2 away, and George Stone set to hit. Freeman at first, Thomas at third. Buck Freeman with 12 steals last season. George Stone is 0 for 3, 2 ground outs and a whiff for him. Pud Galvin works from the stretch in the 1-1. And Stone sends this one high to center field, and Slide Billy has it. So Harry Suter is now pitching for the Hannes Wagners. And he will face the number 2, 3, and 4 hitters for the King Kellys. Wee Willie Keeler, Jesse Burkett, and the Cupid Childs. As Cousin Ken says, argh. All right. Good game here opening day. Third and final game for at least today, I think. Although I'm having a blast doing it still. All right, Wee Willie Keeler's intentionally walked his last time up. Harry Suter, a 242 average, 2 wins, 3 losses, a save. 24 strikeouts, or 24 walks, 47 strikeouts, and 78 innings worked. Suter, the lefty, deals the 1-1 to Wee Willie Keeler. A curveball chopped to Wagner in short, who ranges to his right. Strong peg onto Dan McGann, along with a handful of pebbles for out number 1. Ken Castro says, no offense to modern baseball fans, but I could watch this all day long. So could I, to be honest with you. I love all baseball, but this was such a riskier form of baseball. And again, lots of fights and spikes, and crowds would run on into the field, and just a great wild period in baseball where you had to fight to keep. You didn't get sent down to AAA if you were in a slump. You got sent back to digging ditches in Indiana. All right. Here's Jesse Burkett, 1 for 3, 1 away, bases empty. Suter deals the 1-1. Burkett, liner to third. Bill Bradley, nice play on that one. 2 quick outs here. So Harry Suter doing a good job trying to keep these King Kelly bats quiet here in the ninth, to give the Wagners a chance in the bottom of the ninth. Cupid Childs 2 for 3, and he was intentionally walked back in the seventh by Jack Cheesebro. Suter into his windup, and the 0-1 pitch. Curveball. Childs, little grounder to first. Dan McGann gingerly steps on first base for out number 3. We go to the bottom of the ninth here, opening day, Exposition Park, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, between the King Kellys and the Hannes Wagners. And Hannes Wagner, who came off the bench to pinch hit and is 1 for 1, will lead it off here. Hannes Wagner, Jimmy Williams, and Bill Bradley due up for the Hannes Wagners. Galvin looking strong, and what a line for him. 8 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. Masterful performance by Pud Galvin. Galvin now ready to deal to the Flying Dutchman. Here is the 0-1 delivery. Wagner swings, base hit into center field. Hamilton quickly up with the ball, gets it into Bill Dolan. And the tying run is aboard, and the winning run comes to the plate in the form of former St. Louis Browns player, second baseman Jimmy Williams. Jimmy 0 for 3. Wagner has an aggressive lead off first. Farrell has a good arm behind the plate. Galvin with a check of the Flying Dutchman at first. And here's the 0-1 to Jimmy Williams. Base hit, right field. Wee Willie Keeler has it. Wagner will hold at second. 2 aboard now. It's getting tense. And we're going to go to pitch mode now as Bill Bradley steps in. Bradley has struck out, grounded out twice. Tense as son of a bitch. All right. Wagner at second, Williams at first. Jimmy Williams, decent speed, nowhere near Hannes Wagner, but Williams can get around on a base hit. So the Wagners mounting a threat here in the bottom of the ninth. And Galvin delivers to Bradley. And Bradley bunts this one foul into foul territory on the first base side. Count 0-1 on Bradley. He's back in the box. Here's the wind and the 0-1. And Bradley bunts this one up the first base line. The only play is going to be to first. Sacrifice successful. Wagner moves to third. Jimmy Williams to second. And here is Johnny Kling. The tying run 90 feet away for the Hannes Wagners, and the winning run at second base in Jimmy Williams. Johnny Kling today has singled, struck out, and walked. Galvin needs to induce a strikeout here or keep this ball on the infield and try to cut off the run at home, or we're going to go into extras possibly. Galvin ready now, has the sign from Duke Farrell. And the 1-1 to Johnny Kling. Fastball. This one chopped to third. Pinckney up with it onto Condor to retire Johnny Kling. Wagner unable to move. So big play by George Pinckney. And Harry Suter, we're going to just let the computer call it. I don't think you're going to pinch hit. And no, it's Chick Stahl, Chicky Boy, batting with the 0-1 count. Fly ball to center. Billy Hamilton has it in his glove, and the King Kellys stave off a potential threat from the Hannes Wagners in the bottom of the ninth to hold on in this opening day victory, 2-1. What a fun game this was. The only highlight for the Hannes Wagners was Hannes Wagner, who went 2 for 2 with a steal. Pud Galvin gets the win and an absolutely impressive pitching performance. He goes to 1-0. Jack Cheesebro falls to 0-1. Highlights for the King Kellys then. George Pinckney, 2 for 2 with a stolen base, 2 walks. Cupid Childs went 2 for 4 with a stolen base. Jesse Burkett, 1 for 4 with a triple. Let's just quickly look at this pitching again, going over Pud Galvin's line. 9 complete, 1 earned run, 1 walk. He struck out 9. Jack Cheesebro, a little bit rougher for him. This is not what you expect from him. 8 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, but what you wouldn't expect from him is the lower strikeouts. He walked 6, struck out 3. There was only one error committed in this game, and that was by the Wagners. So I'm guessing Pud Galvin will get MVP on this. And if he doesn't, I'm the Pope. I'm not the Pope. Pud Galvin is the MVP. So there we go. Fun stuff. We're going to let the standings do their things. And there we go. So four-way tie for first. The Kellys, Cobbs, I forget who the 1970s are now. I forget who's the 1970s team. What did I name them? I think they're the Clementes. Anyhow, and the 1990s team. I think they're the Clementes. Nope, the Joe Morgans. Okay. Wow. Triple header completed. Absolutely. As MV says, Chicky stall. All right, so I was going to show you guys just so that we don't get confused. Some of the things I don't have installed, but I'll show them to you. So what we're going to do is we're going to install the Classic Decades, or show you one of them anyhow. So season, and look in Seasons folder, and I'm not going to display all zip files because I just want to see Dave Cook products now. So Classic Decades, where'd you go, guys? There we are. So let's look at Classic 1970s, since I think we have a lot of 1970s baseball fans in here. Yeah, it says I have it in there, but I'm going to overwrite it. I don't care. I haven't played with it yet. So this is what it looks like. This is what the Classic Decades look like. And we can best tell by just looking at rosters. But just to remind ourselves, I'll take this over to here, and let's get back to Classic Decades. So just to remind you, this is the Classic Decades. These are 32-man rosters for each team, comprised of the players who spent the most time with each franchise over that decade. So this is represented by one of his best seasons and with that team. Okay, so we're looking here at this product. These are Classic Decades, and these are now available 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. They are $25 right now, but again, things frequently go on sale, but this is a good set, and you could have a lot of fun here for 25 bucks. So let's look at the Pittsburgh Pirates, for instance, here in the 1970s, and of course, none of these guys are activated or anything like that. But you got Stargell, Parker Robertson, Hebner, Zisk, Clemente, Oliver, Scrap Iron. You got Ed Ott, Manny Sanguillen, Gene Allie, Omar Moreno, Rennie Stennett, Vic Davalillo, Gene Kleins, Frank Tavares, and of course Mario Mendoza. Got to have Mendoza. I don't know if Clinton is still here. Oh, well, let's look at the New York Mets, because I know that MV's a New York Mets fan. So for the Mets, you got Tommy Agee, Wayne Garrett, Joe Youngblood, Lee Mazzilli, John Stearns, John Milner, Ed Kranepool, Cleon Jones, always loved that name, Steve Henderson, Duffy Dyer, Ken Boswell, Doug Flynn. We've got some good players on here. Jerry Grody, Bud Harrelson. So you could have a lot of fun with this. Again, I know players from the 1960s. I just don't know how well they played out. Let me see. Clinton is a Red Sox fan. And then, oh, let's look at the Phillies, because Cousin Ken is still in here. So the Phillies, you're going to have Luzinski, Schmidt, Darren Johnson, Willie Montañez, Bob Boone, Del Unser, Tony Taylor, Jerry Martin, Tim McCarver, Gary Maddox, Mike Anderson, Jay Johnstone, Tim Hunton, Dave Cash, Denny Doyle, Larry Boa, Terry Harmon, Dick Selma. Pitching staff for these the 1970 Phillies decade: Steve Carlton, Joe Horner, Gene Garber. There's Ron Reed, Wayne Twitchell, and I'm sorry, I'm looking at 1970s baseball. Tug McGraw, of course. So this is really fun. I didn't see that I need to rename the 1970s team. They're the Morgans. I thought I called the Clemente, but it says Morgans. Maybe I didn't put it in the team name, which I need to do. So thank you, Clinton. I did create the logos for that league. So okay, now these are the Classic Decades. Okay, so not to be confused with what I'm going to show you next. Phil's pitching mediocre. All right, now, don't know if Steve's still in here, but hopefully this will help clear up the confusion of many, because it is. Now, the next ones that I'm going to show you, I'll install, because I don't think I have them in here. Let's see, maybe I do. Um, just I ask your indulgence for a moment here, kind folks. And is this it? No, that's the baseball 1970s. Okay, so the next one I'm going to show you is different. So this is like an all-time greats per decade, and I would certainly love for Dave Cook. I just can't be arsed with creating it to do the 40s, 30s, 20s, teens, aughts, and 1900s, because then it would be just crazy fun. So now I'm going to install what's called a franchise best. So here you're not going to have doppelgangers in here, because this has to do with players. This next one has to do with teams. So we're going to install, and we'll just stay with our 1970s theme here. And we will go with the 1970s best franchise. Install. Yes, directory over. I have so much stuff installed here, I forget. Okay. Okay. So now it's going to look a little different. This one you are going to have doppelgangers, because these are the best teams of their decades. So let's look at the Pittsburgh Pirates here, 1971. And you are going to see, I will show you. So here's Dave Cash. So we go to the Philadelphia Phillies. Um, there's Dave Cash. So if you're playing with this, you either have to not mind doppelgangers or inactivate some players. I would say, rather, I think this would be a more fun. You could say that Dave Cash as a Philadelphia Philly is different than Dave Cash as a Pittsburgh Pirate. So you could play it out. It does have a schedule. The other thing is it makes for a great draft league, or use these best of franchise leagues if you wanted to create your own projects or what have you. So this is really good. Let's look at the Mets for the 1970s. So again, we're seeing Willie Mays, of course, toward the end of his career, and yeah, at 211. So this is not. I should tell you guys that classic decades and the franchise best, these are not baseball history collection. These are taken from seasons. So, um, and of course Willie Mays, near the end of his career, obviously in the 1970s. Who else should we look at? Mick F. I never asked you, Mick. You're a Cards fan, is that correct? Is that your favorite team? So yeah, with the complete collection, or if you're like Steve and I, and you bought everything for this game, you could create any decade or franchise team you want. But yes, it would be a lot of work, which is why you know, I really don't want to get go down that rabbit hole with classic decades. I'll wait and see if Dave will go back that far and do it. Steve's there. He's cranking out the photos for tomorrow. Since Steve's still here, let's look at the Detroit Tigers of the 1970s. Franchise best. This is 1971. So there you go. Norm Cash, Willie Horton, Bill Freehan, Dick McAuliffe, Jim Northrup, Al Kaline, Aurelio Rodriguez, Gates Brown, Ike Brown, Mickey Stanley, Dalton Jones. So great team. Pitching maybe not as good as it could be. Of course, you do have three with ERAs under 3. Lalich, Fred Sherman. But Ron Peronoski is just 0-1 on this. So I think Peronoski was also a Met during that time. Am I right? I think. Yes. Pretty sure Ron Peronoski was a Met. I don't know. He was pitching for somebody then. Who knows? Maybe it wasn't. Or no, he was a Dodger. I'm an idiot. Ron Peronoski was a Dodger. Or not. But who the hell else did Ron Peronoski pitch for? Driving me crazy now. I thought Peronoski was a Dodger because he's only 0-1 on these Tigers. Anyhow. So Joe Murray says alternately playing this, you could delete partial players as well. So it'd be delete or inactivate. The reason you can't do partial players on this one, Joe, is because since this is franchise level and not player level, um, to be able to delete partial players, the game wouldn't know which Dave Cash to get rid of because you're getting Dave Cash. If let's say Dave Cash played a full season with the Phillies and that Phillies team represented in this file, and he also played a full season on the Pittsburgh Pirates team, then he won't do that. But in leagues where you have doppelgangers at the player level, where it was like say you have 1972 and there was a trade, you can have the game say, I want this player to stay with the team he played the most games with, or what have you. So the Twins for Peronoski. Why am I thinking Dodgers for Peronoski? Was he a Dodger at one point? Please tell me he was a Dodger at one point. There he is. There's Ron Peronoski. I could swear Peronoski was a Dodger at one point. Okay, thank you, MV. Whew, I thought I was losing my mind, or what was left of it. So Ron Peronoski was mainly a Dodger. Okay, I don't know why I thought Mets, but no, he's a Dodger, and then he's not. Now the other one that I'll show you is the baseball history collection, and this is what Steve said is the big daddy, and it really, really is. So let's just switch this up. Um, this one is this one is the bad mamma jamma here. As soon as I find it. So there's subsets in here you'll see. So here's um, the baseball history master, 5,000 plate appearances, 2,000 innings pitched, 500 games played. So unless you want to do something sort of crazy like we did with Ned McGreevy, because we wanted to make sure to get enough players, and you want to just create some loaded teams, use one of the subsets. But let me show you what the baseball history master looks like, as Steve did show you. Um, so this thing is mammoth, and this is not even the newest edition. It's going to take a few minutes to load up. So, okay, Peronoski was a Dodger in the 60s. Thank you. I would have had to start following curling or something if I have this image of Peronoski as a Dodger. I don't know what made me think he was a Met, though. That was stupid. So mea culpa. Oh, I'm regretting this, aren't I? Tons of subsets, however, for this baseball history, the baseball history master. Tons of subsets. Country of origin, debut decade, and I know that that will interest Todd B. Because he has a league. He's already created, I think, an Action PC baseball, where I think it's 1977 and 1982. So this thing is probably going to blow up. I'm going to go to free agents only. Um, so if you buy this for the first time, I remember when I bought this in 2017. It was my first year with Action PC Baseball, and I bought this, and I'm all ready to look at all these players, and it was before I realized that they were all free agents, and I should have read. There was nothing there. So not all players displayed. So right now, it's showing only 5,000 players in alphabetical order in this thing. Um, so as of Wednesday, there will be a little bit more than 18,000 players, and this one there's almost 18,000. You can, you know, do your own what if all-star games if you want. I mean, Dave only did 2 all-star games, and if you don't know all the seasons, either with complete collection, or buying them, do this. Make your own all-star games. Have fun with it. Um, it's sortable, by the way. So there's Sam Crawford, up there with triples. Who's the big home run guy? Of course, Barry Bonds in the history collection. And again, this is based on a peak slice of a hitter's career. So who's our RBI man? Lou Gehrig. How about that? Who's our pilferer? Billy Hamilton. The 3-year Major League Greats project for Steve would be near ideal. Well, it's actually a huge undertaking, getting more difficult once Stathead's neutralized. I know that sucks that Stathead's doing that, right? Okay, so Joe, yeah, you can sort this. Yep, exactly, MV. You can do it for pitchers. You really do have an issue. So it's not that I have an issue with them, Mick. For some reason, just my studying baseball history, I kind of just sort of went from the 50s to the 70s, which is funny because I love all kinds of things 1960s. Look who my favorite band is, um, and all that kind of stuff. And I really don't know why I skipped over the 1950s. Down here, yeah, MV talks about sorting. So you can sort by basic batting, you can expand batting, and again, you have to be patient. This is a mammoth database. So we're going to expand batting here. So this one just showing traditional stats that you would have gotten out of Macmillan back in the day, but this will expand to like total baseball type stuff. So there you go. We get a bit more expanded stats, but it doesn't just do expanded batting. You can do this for fielding. How about if you want to sort for batting versus lefties and pitchers, batting versus righties, pinch hitters, batting at home, on road, batting averages. Um, it, it's just nuts. Look, you can do batting by the David Neft books, batting by the Macmillan Original Encyclopedia if you want to do that, right? Then you've got batting plus and pitching plus. So now you're getting into sabermetrics. Um, Pitcher run support, inherited runners, hitting streaks, batter ratings, replay versus real batting, replay versus real pitching. This thing is nuts. You want to search players? You can search players. So let's look for, because you knew it was happening. Where'd he go? Uh, Maybe I need to see what his real name was. Let's find somebody here. Um, Name a player. Name a player. So McF says you're talking to someone who, as a kid, was at Candlestick Park in the late '60s, watching the Giants and the Cardinals. A slice of Hall of Fame history there. How about it? And I should love the '60s because Candlestick was the last place too where the Beatles played. That was their last concert, and at the Stick. But yeah, Giants and Cardinals, great teams in the '60s. Love the '62 Giants. Let's look at Chick Stahl. Chicky Stahl. Chicky as where'd he go? There's Chick Stahl and Jake Stahl. So, and from here you can double click and you can look at the player's card if you want to. And as Steve showed you guys last night, you can you can edit. You can do all kinds of things. Set manager tendencies for the player. Game logs if he's in a if you're doing a replay, you're doing a project, what have you. Um, you have just so much fun with this, man. You can just display this entire file by position, by age, by year, by value. It has actually these players have values in here too. Um, Set your batting minimum. Maybe you just want everybody that's just 500 or more plate appearances. This thing's insane. So you can I can export these found players. I can release them, which I would want to. I can import players into this, although I wouldn't want to. But say I was looking for Chick Stahl and I want to export Chicky to somewhere else, I can export and still keep him here. So it's like a copy paste. Export Chick Stahl from here to wherever I want to put him. Okay, so that's the history master. Um, you guys were talking about the nations one is weird. I've got to warn you right now, Joe. Or is it Joe? Yeah. So here's the way the ones work with country of origin. And I'm going to warn you up front, you're going to have a ton of players, but you're going to be able to really pick and choose what you want. So what I wish Dave would have done is that these would have been sorted by country onto teams with a schedule. If that's updated for the one that's due out next Wednesday, cool. If not, be prepared for a lot of work, and I will show you why. Okay, so let me go to season, and just for shits and giggles, I just did Ireland in here first because Ireland is one of the countries because the Irish did dominate baseball in the 19th century, and I am probably going to have to reinstall it, I think. Son of a bitch. Let me see. And that's the same if you buy the 1800s complete. It's a strange file to work with. All right, damn it. Never mind. Cancel. Um, Let me just see. Can I do this? Install season. Again, let's look in the seasons folder. Yeah, see, there's all the debut stuff and everything like that. So, um, and there's even debut pre-1900. Haven't even looked at those. Okay, let's do. You said, Joe, you said Puerto Rico, right? All right, let's look at Puerto Rico. The seasons menu needs a search field option. Yes, it does. Because I'm not even looking at the stuff that I got from Steve Tate and Zepp and everybody else, but I mean, right there, that's a crap ton of stuff. All right, but let me show you, since you were talking about Puerto Rico, let's do it. So we're going to install, and that's installed. And you will see that this contains only free agents. Okay. So what we're going to do again is we're going to go to our database, and um, let's see. We're going to display free agents only. This is split into two leagues, for whatever reason. I don't know. And I think it's refresh. Is it that? Is it fresh? All right. What am I doing? Because this threw me off. Is it all? It's not all teams. Is it League One? Or do I have to? Oh, so I can't remember how to do this one because I only looked at Ireland. It's like, how the hell do I do this? Oh, that's why, because it's looking for stall. I'm a freaking Egypt. All right. Steve did this last night. So there you go. So here's what you're going to run into, Joe. There's 224 players in here. So there's enough here to just make a Puerto Rican league if you wanted. So for the 12 countries of origin, these are all free agents. So I was thinking, oh, great, I could do as I was talking about earlier in the year on the channel, I was going to do like a real World's Baseball Classic with these players by their country of origin. Well, if you want to dive deep down the rabbit hole, there you go. And again, because it's sortable, it's like, okay, I want to, let's get back to the top here. Right, so there we go. There's Juan Gonzalez, there's Carlos Delgado, there's the Baby Bull, there's Carlos Beltran. So, I mean, you could do this. And again, you could export any of these players. So if I go to Carlos Beltran, I can, if I did a search on him. So you can do what you want to do, but just be prepared for a lot of work. And this, by the way, this is just showing, am I viewing all? Yeah. So viewing all. So let's just look at position players. And so even for position players, there's 180 position players here. So if you do 25-man rosters, yeah, you've got enough for what, an 8 or 10 team league here, or 8-team league, I guess. 8-team league just for Puerto Rico. Now thinking about then all the other countries that you're going to bring in here: Canada, Cuba, United States. I haven't even looked at the United States file. I'm kind of afraid to look at the United States file. I'm pretty sure it's pretty large. I don't know what the criteria are for who was selected for these teams or what. I have no idea. I just know that This is breaking it all down by country of origin. So have fun. Seriously, have fun with it. And maybe you'll be the one that will make the World Baseball Classic of Major League Baseball players. So that's another subset. An easy subset to get into it, of course, is just what you would expect. So a subset of that. And you saw one subset today in our triple header. That's a subset of the baseball history collection. So is this. This is an all-time greats franchise league. So, um, and again, with the freedom, the flexibility that you have on out-of-the-park baseball, if you feel there's a missing player, bring them in. I did that for the Pirates. I brought in a few guys that I thought should have been here on the Pittsburgh Pirates that weren't. Have fun with this. Have fun, have fun, have fun. So you can see already so much value. And if you wanted to and you didn't want to stick with these, you could maybe just keep, as Steve did with the draft last night. So any league, anything that you own, right? Dump everybody, dump all these guys into a draft pool, and let your imagination run wild. I think that's really the best thing. Anything else you guys want to see from these things? I don't know that I ever bought those best ofs. Yeah, one thing I will show you. Always pays to look outside, um, like in the Action PC community. Now you can see there's even more. So there's also some homebrews out there. So you saw the best of, like the franchise things. Well, there's an all-time great franchise. I don't know who did these. Um, I think it's Big Daddy somebody, or was it Shim Woolley, one of these guys. There's lots and lots and lots of homebrews for Action PC, and Dave is really cool. And there's these 5-year franchises done by that Tate fella. So there's baseball's best teams, worst teams. One I did want to show you guys that for people that don't want to jump into, and there's of course more Steve stuff. The state collection is awesome. It's its own thing. It's awesome. But you guys have seen that on this channel before. There's the King of Diamonds thing, which was Steve Tate was part of. Really nice. But there was one I wanted to show you. It's actually split into 2 files, and it's a Dave Cook product. Let's do it like this. So that way we cut down the amount of stuff that's on here showing on the screen, and then we're going to close it off here. Because, damn it, that was a lot of baseball today for you guys, and a lot of hearing my voice. All right, whereas, yeah, Baseball Greats AL and NL. What this is it's a file, and I think I already have it installed, but if I don't, it doesn't matter. I'll just reinstall it. Called Baseball's Top 160 Teams. This one's fun. A lot of fun here. Look at all these great teams here. Let's go back in time. Back. Or forward or wherever. There you go. There's your 2006 New York Mets. Just so many great teams here. I don't know. There's the 1960 Pittsburgh Pirates. How about, I said let's go back. All right. There's your 1912 New York Giants. 1907 Chicago Cubs. 2007 Colorado Rockies. It's Big Daddy Stovepipe. I have those. So if you want to, I'll show you one of those. So and so there's 80 teams for the National League, 80 teams for the American League. I think better for a draft league. I wouldn't play this out. I don't think this would work well at all, unless you want the 1953 Brooklyn Dodgers playing the 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers. Yeah. So great draft league here. Just drag what you want, and you guys, that's the simplest thing to do. That's again, Steve in 2.5 hours couldn't have done everything on this baseball program. Uh, that's possible. So yeah, Big Daddy Stovepipe. Let's put in one of his. So let's install a season, and have to do this. And let's do 1940s. And there it is. So there's Chicago White Sox. And I really like, there's Ted Lyons. Again, all the usual suspects. These are from the 1940s. So let's see, who was good in 1940s? Well, of course, the Brooklyn Dodgers were good in 1940s. So, and this is a home brew. And in fact, Dave Cook is so cool that even though he's producing the Negro League seasons, um, Steve had let him know, well, I'm doing this with the Negro Leagues. He's like, yeah, he's cool with it. So how can you not support both a great product and a great developer? I guess that's it. Again, Steve is the guru on this stuff, on Action PC Baseball. And God, just imagine, right? You get Steve Tate's files. You get, you should get the baseball history collection, but you also get Steve Tate's files. You get Zepp's 3 year. They're split, I think, into 20-year increments or something. Get those. Get some of the home brews that are out there, and you can do damn near anything you want in this game without spending a lot of money. And you will find as you go along, when the sales come up, oh, what the hell, I'm going to get this decade for $30 or $40 or whatever. And yeah, holy shit! Look at New York, huh? Wow. Okay, guys, that's it. This was a long one. We did 3 games and talked about Action PC Baseball a whole bunch. So I guess I'll be meeting Steve Tate in the field of battle sometime tomorrow and make him weep. It's going to be Pirates and Tigers, I guess. I think Steve and I were either even or he's 1 game up on me. So that's it. I'm because it's a long stream, I won't be able to thank everybody. Oh yeah, hell, Mick. I'm going to go singing tonight, so it'll be there. I'm not as scared. So my thanks to Mick F, to Clinton Parks, to Joe Murdy, um, to our good friend MV. Well, Lofton might be on the next. I'm not sure. MV, I would have to go back to the master file. But you have the baseball history collection, so you could look for Kenny Lofton yourself because you have this as well. Let me see. Steve Tate, thank you very much, bud. We will definitely be playing. Um, Aaron Reed, thank you. And these long streams make it really difficult to catch everybody, so my apologies. John DFW was in here. Did I say Aaron Reed? I'll say it again. Bernard Strom was in here. Clee Baseball Fan 879. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans. Robert from RGL Network was here. And John DFW. And I probably said some people's names 3 times and missed others. Thank you guys. See you around the batting cage tomorrow. And he says, almost done with the extra. Steve Tate says, when you call it quits, you broadcast about an hour. Oh, nice. Okay. Except for the head-to-head, I'll be on for that. That list had guys in their 50s stolen base. It might have been something I was doing MV. All right, so catch Steve Tate in about an hour. Guys, good stuff. Don't know if MV is going to be broadcasting today. Tomorrow, going to play Steve Tate in the afternoon, some head-to-head. And then tomorrow night, um, we will conclude the 1912 Boston Red Sox and 1884 Providence Grays. And then we move on to the next round. Going to be a lot of fun. That's a great, great tournament. And thank you to Cousin Ken for being an inspiration to that tournament, wanting to keep McGreevy going, and that's the way we did it. All right, guys. Uh-oh, MV is banned today, but he said he'll be back tomorrow. All right. Sláinte mate, ta-ra. Cheers. See you guys around the batting cage. Thank you.